And we're live. Hopefully
Hello.
no boomer issues.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How is everybody out there doing this fine Super Bowl Sunday? Hopefully you guys are all recovered, haven't been drinking too terribly much, but if you have not, no time like the present to start. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you back to Out of the Darkness. I am once again your host, Q, along with my co-host, the awesome Soder. How you doing, my
Hello,
buddy?
everyone. Well, we'll find out. Rackets invited me over for Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so I scrambled to get everything that I thought I would need for tonight.
Yep.
And I forgot my camera. And I was really hoping he'd let me use his nice mics because I did not want to pack up that monstrosity that I have in my office back home. Thankfully, he let me.
So do you have the whole crew over there then?
As far as I'm aware, they're still here. Yes.
So did you guys drive separately?
We did. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So, because otherwise, I imagine
it might be a late night.
it might be. It might be, especially if you are in the Rackets den.
So, eventually, yes. Especially, yes.
Yeah, especially if you're in the Rackets den. So, I had some festivities to go to, but the show gave me a reason to have to leave, so I had to get out and get to the house and get to the studio. So I had to miss what seemed to be. I'm getting mixed reviews. Did you watch the halftime show?
No, I actually watched none of the game.
None of it, huh?
Too busy visiting and eating delicious steak.
There was steak?
There was steak.
See, now no one said anything about steak.
Oh, it was great.
Well, good. I'm glad that it was an enjoyable opportunity, man.
It was. He is a very good host.
He's a dang good cook too. Most people don't realize that. Well, cool beans, man. Well, it's good to be back. Glad to be alive. I drank enough alcohol to beat the coronavirus. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Because that thing is making the rounds, it sounds like.
Oh, it's making the rounds. Yeah, man. I'm armed with my whiskey and enough essential oils to kill something. So we're good. Yeah. So we are loaded down with with all types of essential oils, man. So we're set up pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, man.
I might have to come over to your place if it gets here, which it might be.
Man, hey, we'll put you on.
Family members flying right now, so
yeah, we'll put you on quarantine in the barn before we let you in the house. You got a two week quarantine in the barn. Oh, absolutely. Hey, we're not. Yeah, we're not being. Can't be too careful. Can't be too careful. And we know how you white people like to bring plagues that take out entire nations. So we gotta.
Well, we gotta conquer them somehow morally.
Well, I suppose might as well give them the plague, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, might as well give them the plague. So I am currently getting messages from all the people that I told that the 49ers are going to be an absolute lock and they were going to beat the crap out of the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't come through for me. They were winning and then they weren't. So
they were winning and then they weren't. Was that really on in the game?
Oh no, that was like they were winning by 10 like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
And now they're down by 10. So
wow.
And the game is
quite a swing.
Oh yeah, it was a heck of a swing. It starts to make me wonder if there's like some broader conspiracy,
I've heard that the games are rigged. I think it's part of the QAnon thing.
It must be. It must be. So that's the only conclusion that I can come to. Yeah, thanks a lot. RIP that call, buddy. Yeah, that was that was a rough deal. But anyway, but I'm here with you guys now, so that's the important part. So, man, lots of stuff to get to. It has been one hell of a week, and even more of a hell of a January. It's hard to believe with all that's gone on. It's hard to believe that we're just now getting to February, right?
And Puxatawny Phil said there will be no 4 more years of Trump today. So that's a disappointing beginning of the month.
Oh man, yeah, I don't believe anything Puxatawny has to say. But you know what? If I stand in the gap for Trump, yeah, just like with the 49ers, I must be the kiss of death. So
maybe you should start rooting for Hillary.
You know, I should start rooting for whoever the Democratic candidate's going to be, because then they'll definitely. But I can't say that because, you know, when Trump first initially came out and did his press conference and said that he was going to be running for president, at that point, I called my wife. I told her, I said, that's the next president of the United States. He's going to win it. And I never wavered. And even down by you with all those never Trumpers that you live around. I
don't know. Well, there were a lot of Trump supporters.
Now they are, but in the beginning, he was just a vulgar man.
4 years? Yeah, 4 years ago at the last presidential caucuses, he actually won. No, wait, it was Cruz, followed by Trump.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, everybody's like you. You know, they have these ideas of what a conservative ought to be, you know, in the tank for the Republican Party. I consider myself to be more of a conservative than a Republican, and I know, you know, you're definitely in the red tank. So it's
well, it's okay, you know, the other parties just aren't very. They're not going to. It's the party best aligned with my ends that could also do something as well.
You know what? Hey, you know what? I still love you, still respect you, even though you're full on elephant. It's all good. It's all good. So, and you're a boomer at heart. Most boomers are Republicans. So I understand that. So no love lost here, there, buddy. No love lost here. So we'll keep praying for your soul, and
thanks.
And I know Diet Soder, she's definitely seen the light, and seems like she's in the tank for the Trump.
She's one of those good Republicans, huh?
No, she's a good conservative. Good conservative. Yeah. So
okay.
So yeah. Oh yeah. So I was gonna Zakin Tawati. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that properly. I'm probably butchering it. But he says he watched the Clarence Thomas documentary Saturday. Fantastic packed show on a Saturday night. I definitely want to see that. I don't know if it's playing within 100 miles of me, but I definitely would like to go and see that. It sounds like it's going to be, well, from what I've heard, probably going to be a pretty good show. You know, Clarence Thomas is one of those justices that really intrigues me. Not sure what to think about him at times. You know, like I told you, the whole Anita Hill thing. You know,
I mean,
I have a tendency to believe all women. You know, and so
especially when it comes to coke.
Especially when it comes to coke. So you know, I feel a little weird. It's at Eden Prairie. Yeah, Eden Prairie is, man, that's got to be close to 100 miles for me, huh? It's pretty darn.
Yeah.
That's a poke. I'll go
if not 100 miles, definitely an easy 2-hour drive.
Yeah, but I'll go if you drive. So yeah.
Talking to me or Zakin?
No, I'm talking to you. So yeah. So I'll go if you drive. So, but yeah, man. So So you being a never, I won't even say you're a never Trumper. I guess that's not really fair. For you
I'm
being
a maybe Trumper.
a maybe Trumper, that's
maybe
even
Trumper.
worse. That's even worse. I'm gonna start, instead of Soder, I'm gonna start calling you Mitt.
Mitt?
Mitt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, now I think that's worse than the N word, saying the M word.
Okay, so let me ask you this: did you vote for Mitt Romney? Be honest.
No, I did not.
You didn't vote for Mitt Romney.
Nope.
And you didn't vote for Trump.
Nope.
Wow. So did you just stay home, or you vote third party?
Third party.
Wow. Well, I can't fault you for the not voting for Mitt thing, because after seeing some of the shenanigans that he's pulled this last couple weeks, even, I'm kind of at the place. I think.
Are you a never mitter?
Oh, I'm absolutely no way Jose Mitter.
Sorry, never M worder.
Yeah, never M worder. I don't even think he deserves to have his name spoken on this show. But yeah, he's a piece of work, man. He's an absolute piece of work. I think he's actually more swampy than most of the people in the swamp currently. I mean, he is. There's nothing worse than a backstabber, and he's absolutely a backstabber. He hates Trump more than he loves America, and that's just sick. Absolutely sick. So, anyway, whatever. Soder is a hero. Oh, stop it, Stephen Powell. God,
I think he just really likes my thumbnail for tonight.
Oh, well, perhaps.
I guess he likes to see me die.
Yeah, you're gonna die at the hands of these arguments tonight, man.
Probably.
Yeah. So
I wonder if he's gonna jump in and save me from drowning.
He's probably resting. He's such an old man.
He did have a pretty big week this week.
So he says.
He made some poor choices for his chili that came to bite him.
Oh, well, I tell you what, nothing comes back to bite you like poor choices in chili. So, yeah, Lord knows I've had some problems with experimenting with my chili. So, but yeah, hey, Steve-O, you've got the info. Get on here real quick. I wanna roast you and Soder at the same time. So that would make my life easier as opposed to roasting you guys separately. So since both of you guys are all about that anti-Trump life, so give me your standpoint as a maybe Trumper. Give me your standpoint, or what is your take on what's going on with the whole impeachment deal?
It's hilarious to watch, while also being hard to watch. I've really only watched the first couple of days when the Democrats were making their case, and oh my gosh, I just wanted to shoot myself in the face. It was so boring and repetitive. They were basically saying the same thing over and over and over again about how Trump would not come to them for the requests for documents. And as a layman, as an idiot, unschooled in the art of law, I do know one thing, that you don't necessarily have to provide documents that, well, so you do have to produce documents, but you also don't have to make it easy on them, right? Like if they have nothing to compel you to produce something,
right?
Or no, how to put that? If they have no legal recourse to ask you for something, they can't really demand it. They can say they want it, but you don't have to give it to them, right?
As my mama would say, people in hell want ice water. So,
yeah. So they have this with some of the things they were complaining about was, well, he's invoking his executive privilege here. Okay, yeah, he has that thing, but they're just whining that he has this thing so he doesn't have to give them stuff, right? I forget what exactly he was. I think it was Schiff was talking once. And he was going in circles like, well, Trump doesn't give us this information. Therefore, he acted wrongly in Ukraine. And it's proof because he hasn't given us stuff, which means he acted wrongly in Ukraine. What? Slash a lot of stuff that they seem to be doing, like Joe Biden's coercion to get rid of that prosecutor years ago. Yeah, like, that's a quid pro quo. Like, what is so bad about, or if such an activity by Trump is bad, why didn't you do anything about this publicly recorded confession of quid pro quo to get his son off the hook of an investigation, regardless of whether it was legit or not? Like, he used a quid pro quo, and he bragged about it in a recorded session.
Right.
This isn't like a conversation that he had with another dignitary and then it was leaked by some insider. This was a conference he was at. It's like, look at the big swinging dick I have that I can make Ukraine do this.
Right. I guess that's the frustrating part, is that he there's been so many double standards here, right? You have one standard of for Trump, you have another standard for the other. I think that over and over they've moved the goalpost so much in this whole trial, or in this whole process. I wouldn't even call it a trial because it's definitely not a trial. They've moved the post so much. We started off talking about he was using the power of his office to investigate a political opponent, right? There was all this talk about how could he, use the power of his office to investigate Joe Biden. But then we move forward, and now we have a Senate trial, quote unquote, a Senate trial by which 4 of the people who will cast a vote probably Wednesday are his political opponents. So they are investigating and voting to have their political opponent removed from office prior to the election in November. So shouldn't there be an outcry to have them recuse themselves? I mean, I haven't heard anyone talking about this, but shouldn't they have to recuse themselves before they vote on that?
I would think so.
I mean, it only seemed fair. Mm-hmm. What's going on, Steve O'Powell?
Hey, yeah, no, I don't think they should have to recuse themselves.
No, that's because you're a Trump
part of what
hater.
they're. No, I'm Trump neutral. It's because they.
You're Trump
it's
neutral.
Because
oh my gosh, that like gender neutral.
No, it's they are elected by their constituency to do a job, and this is part of the job that they elected that person to do.
Well, Trump was elected by us to drain the swamp, right? So if he is investigating corruption that Joe Biden did commit, admittedly committed, by the way, if he's doing his job, aren't they interfering from him doing his job?
Well, the 3 branches of government are supposed to check each other's powers, so I think that's sort of where that goes into.
And I'm fine with that. But how can you say
in principle? I think the whole thing is a big sham. And he's going to get acquitted. It's going to be a big nothing burger, and then we're all going to have wasted our time even thinking about it.
No, it's not going to be over. You and I both know it's not going to be over. The next thing is going to be there's a new woman that's come forward that says that who is that?
I have my parents over, and my mother has some sort
of. Oh no, he's got coronavirus.
Oh Lord.
She did just fly in from Seattle.
Oh my gosh!
So maybe she has coronavirus.
Steven, I haven't known you long, but it's been a pleasure.
It's been nice knowing you. Oh my goodness! Well, we're gonna pray for her. It sounds like she has the Kung flu. So,
yes, I think she has the Kung flu.
Oh my goodness! Tell her we're praying for her. So yeah,
You're praying for you, but don't be so loud.
I didn't
We're
say
praying
that.
that she isn't so loud.
Oh, now she's screaming how she loves Trump.
Hey.
Out into the snow.
Well, tell her to have you step aside. Let's talk to somebody who's got some sense.
Well, you want to talk to her? She's got she's a conservative. She's got a doctorate in economics from Notre Dame.
Oh
she
my
loves
goodness.
Trump.
Well, then scoot over.
Mom, you want to be on the show? You want to talk about Trump? No, she doesn't have any makeup on.
Tell her she can stand next to you and tell you what to say, and therefore you might actually sound extremely intelligent tonight.
Oh,
them's fighting words.
Anyway, no, it's nothing but love. But now the big talk. It seems like they're in the waiting. This woman came forward and said that she was sexually assaulted 30 years ago by President Trump in a department store dressing room. So
I thought she already came. I thought she already came out about that. Or was this another dressing room?
I didn't. This is my first time hearing about it. But she's requesting DNA from the president because she has DNA on her dress that she is held onto for 30 years.
For 30 years, wow.
30 years, yeah. She's
that's some really old DNA.
That's some really old.
I mean,
DNA.
why would she make her baby wear her dress and then wear it for the next 30 years?
Well, but the sad part about it is that, well, not the sad part. There's a lot of sad parts about it. But there are 4 different men's DNA on the dress. They've identified the other 3. But
that's a long time not to do your laundry, by the way. Just saying. That's some next level bachelor stuff right there.
Man,
I mean, I understand like flipping your pants or you're flipping your dress inside out or your underwear inside out just to get double the wear. But I mean, you think that
30 years though, still.
But
wow.
30 years is a long dang time. So, yeah, wow. But yeah, so she is now saying that she is requesting DNA from the president in order to prove that he, I don't know, released DNA on her dress. But
along with a group of people, apparently.
Along with a group. So I mean, so what is it like? Yeah, those guys. Yeah, they were. I was told school with that. But the billionaire. Yeah, he was absolutely not invited. So I'm thinking something just doesn't seem right. I mean, I know I'm supposed to believe all women, but I'm having a hard time.
Oh, and I know you're into believing all women there, Q. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. I typically believe all women, but this one I'm having a tough time with. I can't lie. So, but yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes of it. But I'm imagining that if they don't get him with the impeachment, they'll be coming after him with the rapist talk next. So, which
is really the same thing that they've been trying since he was candidate Trump.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They've been trying, and
it's like they really need some creativity on that side of the aisle.
But the thing that bothers me is that they have tried their best to frame him as being a liar, and some of our mutual friends.
Well, they got plenty of creativity. Adam Schiff, he just lies.
Are you just gonna come on the show, or are you just gonna comment from the background?
The Stephen Pina gallery.
I don't particularly think that Adam Schiff is that creative. He's just kind of a boring old bureaucrat.
Hey, I'm sorry, but this reminds me of that Wedding Crashers scene where Will Ferrell's mom.
No, Adam Schiff's creativity does not even equal that of a freshman college student taking a creative writing class.
Well, speaking of Schiff, didn't he have some pictures released last week?
Oh,
I don't know.
Some pictures from San Francisco. But wasn't there a guy who said if Schiff doesn't release the pictures, he will? or something to that effect.
Release those pictures, my friend. Release those pictures.
I want to see the pictures.
No,
Show me the
don't.
pictures.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see those pictures.
Okay, maybe I don't want to.
Yeah, probably not. If they are Adam Schiff pictures, yeah, I'd probably stab myself in the eyes with a pencil. So I'm good on that. So so tell me this, Steve-O. So will you be voting for Trump in 2020 this year?
Well, no.
No.
Nope.
And why not?
Oh, where to start? We'll start out.
How about start at the point where you don't like freedom?
Oh, I don't like freedom. How about
start there? Start at the point where you don't
how
like
about
freedom.
I don't like commando raids in Yemen that target civilians and kill children?
That ain't got nothing. That ain't got.
That was
Thank
both
you, Mom.
Obama and Trump. That's Tweedledee and Tweedledoo. How about how I don't like gun control?
So how is Trump control guns?
I don't.
Mr. Holy moly. Okay, you can either go to your room or get on the show. That's your ultimatum. They're over at my house. I'm letting them stay at my house.
Mom, go to your
Welcome
room.
on the show.
Hey, I don't appreciate you talking to your parents that way. So if you're going to be on this show, buddy, you're going to fly right and you're going to be respectful to your parents now.
Well,
So because clearly your parents are making more sense than you.
In their place.
Oh boy. Hey, so mom, dad, where
thrown at me.
Where did you guys go wrong with this one?
They can't hear you. They can only hear me. I have you on that headset.
Oh, okay.
He wants to know. He wants to know where you went wrong with me.
Why?
He's a Trump supporter, yeah. Uber Trump supporter. He snuggles up with a Trump pillow every night.
Oh my goodness, you sound like.
No, okay. Trump and gun control by executive action.
Well, okay. So chapter and verse. When did this happen?
The bump stock ban.
He didn't ban any guns.
Oh, he banned gun parts. Excuse me. I suppose if we ban bullets but don't ban the guns themselves, that would not be gun control.
You can't even
Virginia governor.
Right? Thank you.
No, we should be able to own whatever we want.
You want some blackface to go along with that argument there, Steve?
I love some blackface. I can do blackface. We got yellow face right now. I can do blackface. I'm born with yellow face.
Jesus. Okay, but you can't even make that argument with a straight face. You're far too intelligent to make that argument. How could you possibly say that bump stocks equate to gun control? Bump stocks. I mean, we never even had bump stocks 10 years ago. So
why ban innovation?
Why ban innovation?
Because they didn't have it in 1776. That's why.
There you go.
Recreational cannons in everybody's window.
So no, I'm serious. How could you possibly make that argument? You're far too intelligent to make that argument that by making a political stance and banning the bump stocks after the worst shooting that we've had in ever, by giving that small piece up of bump stocks as a political stance, how could you possibly say that he's against guns?
Any compromise on the Second Amendment is a bad compromise.
Bump stocks aren't protected under the Second Amendment.
I guess neither are your rifle stocks then either.
That's still a gun. You're talking about a gun part. You're talking about an accessory.
No, your rifle stock is a gun part too.
It's an accessory.
It's bad to saw off the end of your shotgun.
It would be
it's also considered an accessory. The barrel.
Bull crap. A barrel is part of the actual.
Not according to federal law.
So is the stock. The stock is part of the gun too.
Trigger guard, barrel, sights.
So
handles.
Let me ask you this: if so,
the thing that goes up.
So
thing
how
that goes up, yes.
So how is so if they said we're going to ban the laser pointers on guns, would that be considered banning?
That would be gun control.
Yeah, see, I think you, man, I need.
But you're banning high capacity magazines. That's gun control too.
Oh, okay. The high capacity magazines, because magazines are part of the gun. I understand that, but magazines aren't an accessory. Magazines are necessary for the use of the weapon.
Oh, but is a high capacity magazine necessary?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it is.
Wait, so a stock isn't necessary then too? It's not necessary to the function of the firearm.
Well, I mean, to some firearms, no. I mean,
any regulation that curtails the Second Amendment in any way is bad.
Bump stocks are not protected under the Second Amendment. It's an accessory to the firearm.
Well, then then a lot of firearms aren't protected under the Second Amendment. We're going to go back to go back to muskets.
It's not a firearm. It's a bump stock. If he comes and says, hey, I'm going to ban AR-15s, well, then, yeah, that's gun control. If he comes and says, hey, I'm going to ban 223 ammo, yeah, that's gun control. But at the point that he's saying, I'm going to ban this particular accessory, you can't even buy a gun off the shelf with a bump stock on it. Right? I mean, nothing comes.
Why shouldn't we be able to modify our firearms however we want to?
Okay.
So what you're saying is, if it doesn't come with the gun when I buy it fresh from the factory, it's an accessory that can be regulated.
No, because as soon as I say yes to that, you're going to say, "Well, when have you?"
Because that's what it sounds like you said.
No, as soon as I say that, then you guys are going to come at me with the, oh, well, you know, the ammo doesn't come with the gun when you buy it also. So,
you already see the problem with your own argument. I don't know what
my AR didn't come with a red dot sight. Does that mean I can't buy a red dot sight?
Ammo is necessary. Ammo is necessary for the use of the weapon. You can't have a firearm without firepower, which is in the ammo. So it's not the same thing. You guys are far too intelligent.
Why can't we just own whatever we want?
Oh, you're giving me too much credit.
Let's just own whatever. I'm serious. We should be able to own whatever we want. We should be able to own fully automatic weapons.
Oh,
recreational nukes.
Recreational nukes.
Well,
hey, tell your mom to come on here and give me the
killdozers.
Hey, tell your mom I want her to come on here and give me her very best argument against socialism.
Nope, you can ask her yourself. You can find her on Facebook. I want you to come on and give an argument against socialism. I can give you an argument against socialism too.
No, because clearly you're not nearly as intelligent as your mother is.
I'm probably not as intelligent as my mother. Correct.
No, not probably. There was no question there.
No, yeah, there's no question. I'm not as intelligent as my mother. That
is true. Anyway, so the bump stock deal. Something that happened in Yemen, which that has nothing to do with the United States. So
no. Okay, sorry. Trump ordering commando raids in Yemen has nothing, just like Obama did, has nothing to do with Trump. I see. Gotcha.
No, that has nothing to do with the United States. Go ahead.
Okay, the border wall. I'm against that, and we've already talked about that. I know both my parents are back here disagreeing with me. They think I'm a absolute.
So you don't believe in so you don't believe in American sovereignty then?
Well, we've talked about that. I do believe in American sovereignty, but
so how can you have sovereignty?
Do you want to rehash that episode?
How can you have? Well, now you're talking about not voting President Trump in because he wants to, and he ran on that. He ran on,
and I didn't vote for him then either. But how are we supposed to escape a totalitarian government if we can't cross down into South pass through the Rio Grande.
Hey man, if something goes south, you're going into Canada, because and so am I.
My stepfather already had to flee one country because of totalitarianism. It's a good thing Cuba didn't build a wall around the island, or he'd still be in Havana.
Yeah, hey, I've met a lot of Cubans. There's no wall keeping Cubans in. I guarantee.
Right, it's a good thing.
Well, no, I'm saying you can build all the walls you want to, and Cubans will still figure out where to get out of them. Yeah, no, I know too many Cubans. They are some of the most resourceful people I've ever met. Have you ever been to Cuba?
No, most of my life there's been a travel ban on Cuba.
Yeah, well, hey, that wasn't Trump. So, but what was that? Did I miss something?
I don't know. He said something with his mouth. My dad said something with his mouth full.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he said most of mine too.
I tell you what,
need to teach your parents better manners for eating, like not talking with your mouth full.
He's going to send them in the room.
I mean, it's kind of seeming like they went wrong with you, but you ended up right. It's a good thing.
Oh, stop it, Soder. Stop it. You're pandering now. God, you sound like Elizabeth Warren. Would you got hot sauce in your pocket now?
No.
Yeah, Soder was just telling me how he feasts on muktuk and seal oil. It's his favorite. So
what? Oh,
yeah. He Oh, come on, man! Don't act like Stephen Powell. Don't act like
wasn't an Eskimo.
I've gotten muktuk this close to my mouth, and that's as far. I've not gotten it actually behind my lips.
Man,
the smell is just not.
I don't mind the muktuk. So I was on a whaling crew up in Barrow. And one spring we brought a whale in. A lot of fun. I'll never forget it. I'll have to post pictures.
Precious, beautiful animals.
Yeah, absolutely. With big guns, really big guns. So you should actually be really excited about this.
I should be. I mean, were those regulated guns? Can we mount those on the rooftops of everyone's house?
No, but we mounted them on the front of a boat. So I felt like Captain Ahab. So
wait, is that just because you were hunting because Ahab was hunting the white whale? Is that why?
Probably.
They are the best ones to hunt.
Are you going to come on the show next week in whiteface?
You know what? I've thought about it, but if I stay here in Minnesota much longer, I'm probably just going to lose all the color in my face anyway.
The show with whiteface, I will come on the show with. I'll have Soder come on the show with blackface.
Not gonna happen.
So, all right. So movie. Your parents gonna wonder what type of show is this?
I won't come on the show at all.
Yeah, I know they're gonna be so confused. They can't see.
Are they coming on now?
Huh?
Are they coming on now or what?
No. My dad's eating, and he doesn't want. I wouldn't put the camera on him when he's eating because he would be embarrassed. I'm not going to embarrass my parents.
Well, don't embarrass him. Just tell him we have a date here in the next week or so. So
yeah, I'll tell him.
Yeah. So anyway, so I don't mind muktuk. I just have
him. Okay. Yeah, that's the guy who called you. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I called you to get you on the show.
Huh?
He said, what did I call him for?
Oh, did you call him or you contacted him?
I did call him.
Oh, you called him?
I called. Yeah. He didn't answer though.
I don't
know. Oh, he didn't answer. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't answer phone numbers I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He is the conservative.
My dad is like an uber Republican. Both my parents are uber Republicans.
Okay.
So that's why they didn't answer the phone of a black man calling him?
No, it's an unknown number. The number he didn't know.
Yeah. So all right. So okay. So as far as I was actually on 2 whaling crews up in Barrow. I don't mind the muck tuck. So the muck tuck, for those of you guys that are here that don't know what muck tuck is, it's actually the fat.
Text me that he's gonna call me.
He says to text you that he's going to call you. He can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tell him I will.
That you're gonna call me, so I will know it's you calling me. I will answer.
Okay, text him before you call him to let him know that you're going to call him, and then call him.
Okay, I will. Yeah, sure. No worries. Or he could just come on the show right now. We could wipe this thing out. But I know he's probably tired after the travel.
Yeah, he's been traveling all day, and then he went to his house and fixed his car.
Okay.
Cold, so he's probably very tired.
All right. So I told you Cubans were extremely resourceful. So
they're very resourceful, yeah.
All right. So as far as the whaling crew goes, so the muck tuck is essentially it's with whale blubber. It's the fat of the whale. On whales, on bowhead whales anyway, in the springtime, you're typically going to have about 14 inches of fat layer around the outside of the whale. So we'll typically process the whale up with chainsaws, cut it off. The problem that we have is rather than eating the whale fresh, typically the Inupiaqs, the Eskimos, I don't like calling them Eskimos, the Inupiaqs, Yupiks, anyway, typically they will take the whale blubber, put it in a paper bag, and then bury it and let it ferment. So the fermentation process is the worst of it. But my absolute worst is I hate anything pickled, Stephen. I don't even like pickled cucumbers. I hate pickles in general.
You don't like sauerkraut?
Oh, God. Ugh.
Not even with potatoes and sausage?
Oh, okay, please don't. Please don't.
That's the only way I eat sauerkraut. Unless the missus makes me take a spoonful.
Guys, stop it. I swear I will. Yeah, this.
Man, you are like the furthest thing from a German Nazi that I've ever met.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, this will be a puke stream if you guys keep talking about sauerkraut. So yeah, I can't handle that. But as far as that goes, Stephen, yeah,
just think of it as cabbage beer.
Yeah, no, I don't drink.
Oh, there
beer.
you go.
I don't drink beer. So
just a second, guys.
Was that Minnesota?
Yeah, probably.
Yes, that was.
Well, tell Minnesota we need someone to come on here that's actually going to speak some sense because I'm surrounded by Nazis. All that being said, so you listed 3 things: Yemen, the wall,
and gun control. Here's number 4. Trump was willing to shut down the government for his wall, but not to save unborn babies. He's consistently signed budgets that allow for the government-funded abortion, abortions. And he signed those without question.
Now, this might shock you. That I cannot in any way defend that. Can't. But my question would be, do you think that Elizabeth Warren would sign that budget?
Sure, Elizabeth Warren would have signed the same budget. She did. She voted for it as a senator.
Okay. Do you think Bernie Sanders would?
Yeah. I'm not voting for the Democrat.
Michael Bloomberg?
I don't vote Democrat.
Okay, so not voting for Trump is a vote for Democrats.
Wow, that's like saying not being a Protestant is you're automatically rooting for the Catholics.
So, well, I mean, in this situation, unfortunately, it is a binary decision, right? I mean,
no,
it is. No. How do you feel that it isn't?
Okay, there was a time when the Republicans were the third party candidate.
Okay, yeah, I understand that.
So just because you vote for a third party candidate does not mean you're supporting the other one.
But we don't live in 1872 anymore, Stephen. We're in 2020. Yeah, alas. Hell no. I'm sorry. Things weren't.
No, I wouldn't want to either.
Things weren't too good for people like me. Yeah. I mean, there was a time my wife, she asked me, she's like, man, if you could go back and live in any time period, which one would it be? And I was like, man, like probably like the 1500s. That'd be awesome. And I was like, ooh, wait a minute. No, probably wouldn't. No, I'm good.
Now is just fine.
Yeah, now is fine. We'll go with now. So, all right. So I can't defend the unborn baby thing.
Now, on the other hand, Trump has done a lot of things that I like.
Okay,
how do we even know the fetus is a human? Sorry, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, clearly.
I just heard unborn.
We're talking about time travel.
Yeah, we're talking about
time travel.
We left abortion. Now we're on time travel.
No.
So if I could go back in time and vote for Trump's baby to be president, I would not.
No, that wasn't what we were that wasn't what we were talking about. Anything. All right, so So give me the positives.
Okay, Trump has done a lot of deregulation. I like that.
Okay, all right.
I like that. I like that Trump has reworked a lot of our trade deals. I like that. Okay. I like that he's pulled us out of a lot of the global government sort of things, or not pulled us out of the Paris Climate Accords, but also kind of held the other governments that in the global government agencies that we're part of accountable for doing their part that they agreed to.
Okay.
I like that. I like that that economically he wants to put America first, not like the globe first, whatever that means.
Okay.
So he has done things that I like. I'm not a Trump hater. That's why I say I'm Trump neutral.
Okay. So
I'm not voting for him, but I don't hate him, and I don't think he's the worst president we've ever had. I think amongst presidents we've ever had, he's probably one of the better ones. I'm not saying he's a bad guy.
So amongst the presidents in your lifetime, so you are my age, really close to it. We're close to the same age.
We're pretty much, we're close to the same age.
Yeah, we're close to the same age. So of all the presidents, so you've voted in as many elections as I have. Tell me which president that you've liked in our lifetime more than Trump that you've been able to vote for.
Oh, that I've been able to vote for?
That you've been able to vote for.
Since we've had a lot of 8-year presidents, it sort of limits it to
sure. I get it. So
Bush. Let's see here.
So you were born during the Reagan administration, right?
I was born during No, I was born during, let's see here, 82. What did Reagan come to power?
82, right?
I was pregnant with you during the Carter-Reagan debates.
Okay, my mother was pregnant with me during the Carter-Reagan debates.
Okay.
So pretty much Reagan was in power about the time I came into this world.
Okay. All right. So I as well. So Reagan, but we couldn't vote for him.
We couldn't vote for him.
First George Bush, we couldn't vote for. The first president that I was ever able to vote for was Bush Senior or Bush Junior.
That was the first president. That would have been the same for me.
Okay, so we've had Bush 2, we've had Obama.
Oh yeah, sorry, because that election was in 2000. We turned 18 in 2000.
Yeah, I know. We went and voted. We both talked about it. We remember that day at church. We wore our little I voted stickers. So.
Oh yeah, and I think I was Republican back then.
Yeah. Well, you better have been. In our church, there was no than that. Yeah. Oofda. All right. So you voted for Bush then. And
I felt like at where I was at the time, I was still drinking the Kool-Aid, but where I was at the time, I thought Bush Jr. was great.
Okay, and I think George Bush Jr. was probably as bad, if not worse, than Obama, personally.
See, in retrospect, I would agree with you.
Yeah, so we're on the same page there. So So by proxy, you would have to agree that Trump is the best president of our lifetime.
Of the three we've been able to, of the three who've been in power since we've been adults, yes.
Okay. So how could you not vote for the best president of our lifetime?
Because Padre. Okay.
Uno momento, por favor.
Just because he's good doesn't mean that there's not somebody out there who's better.
Who's running that's better? Who has a legit shot at winning the presidency?
Well, the Libertarians haven't chosen their next loser candidate yet, but that's probably the one who I'll vote for.
So you tell me this: you honestly think that Gary Johnson would have been a better president than President Trump has turned out to be?
It's impossible to speculate.
No. I'm asking you to speculate.
But yeah, I think so. I believe.
I mean, obviously, he voted for Gary.
Of all the candidates on the field, Gary Johnson was the only one who'd ever actually signed pro-life legislation.
Oh my God. Gary Johnson.
I haven't met her yet, but I love your mother.
Bourbon Supreme.
Quentin says he hasn't met you yet, but he loves you already.
Bourbon Supreme did a great number on Gary Johnson.
You want to hear a libertarian joke, Quentin? You probably heard this one already.
I'm watching a libertarian joke right now unfold before my eyes.
Ooh. I'd punch you in the mouth to give you a fat lip, but anyway.
I'm a guy who considers himself to be a small L libertarian. So, but yeah, but go ahead.
How do you break the heart of an entire political party with just one lepo?
I don't know.
Just one lepo. Soder, do you know?
I don't even know what that word means.
What's a lepo?
Huh?
What's a lepo?
That's the punchline right there. What's a lepo?
I figured this much.
Wait, you're talking about that city, aren't you?
Or the capital of Syria. It was, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay.
Was the attack on Aleppo.
Well, that's true.
Okay, oh God.
Here, I thought it was like a word description or something.
What's Aleppo? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking. I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. What's Aleppo? Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So there it is. So you it sounds like you have just as many pros as you do cons on your list for Trump. So
do you believe taxation is theft?
Yes.
So then how could you vote for the king of tariffs, the tariff king? That makes him the king of theft.
Fair enough. I could see that.
I mean, he's only
to a small,
pro-life on the surface.
But to a certain point,
let me get this straight. A bump stock is just an accessory, but tariffs are where you draw the line.
No, tariffs are not
like here.
No, tariffs are not where I draw the line because I feel like
defend tariffs.
No, look, I can defend tariffs. I can defend tariffs in as much as it was a necessary. The ends. Well, I hate saying this. The ends do justify the means, to an extent, right? The tariffs are necessary to bring the Chinese to the table, because it was necessary for us to get new trade deals done. How else was he going to get these trade deals done? And now the trade deals are actually starting get done. I think it's rather disingenuous, Stephen, for you to say I like the fact that he's putting together new trade deals.
Well, I'm really talking
don't-
about like the Mexico-Canada trade deals.
Okay, so but okay, so you like that one. You just don't like the trade deals that he's doing with China.
So if I understand this correctly, we had to get China to the table, and in order to get them to the table, we need to place tariffs on their imports, making their products cost more so we could get a deal.
Hey, look, I personally
sounds like we had a deal before.
No.
How do we have a deal now?
Where you guys are missing me is I'm okay with tax. I understand that taxes are necessary. We have to have taxes. I just don't like the income tax and the way that we are currently taxed. I think that is theft. Okay.
That sounds like some backpedaling there, Quincy.
No. I'm going somewhere on this. Okay. I am in favor of a value-added tax. I'm in favor of a sales tax. I'm in favor of a tax that says, okay, we're going to tax you on your consumed goods. We're going to tax you on, so the more you consume, the more you pay in taxes. I'm perfectly fine with that because I can control that. I can control how much that I'm going to pay in taxes based on how much I consume. The more I consume, the more taxes that I have to pay. I can live with that. So when you're talking about a tariff on products coming out of China, as long as I'm willing to buy products that are made in the United States, then there's no tariff on me.
So what makes you a little L libertarian and not a big R Republican then?
All right. So if I understand this correctly, you purposely buy made in the United States, even though it's more expensive. So you're fine with tariffs because you don't buy Chinese goods at all.
I didn't say I didn't buy Chinese goods at all. I mean, you would. I mean, I'm sitting here drinking from a cup that I'm pretty sure was made in China. So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when it comes to tariffs on Chinese goods, I have control as a consumer whether or not I'm going to pay those taxes. I have control as a consumer whether or not I'm going to buy those products that those higher tariffs have been put on. I have full control of that as a consumer. I don't have any control over the government sticking their hands in my paycheck before I ever see it and pulling lump sums.
So aren't tariffs paid before it ever gets to the shelves?
But since all of those taxes are compulsory anyway, when the government takes those taxes is irrelevant because if you are unwilling to pay those taxes, they're going to come either and shoot you or put you in a cage. Therefore, your argument
on tariff?
I want to pay. No, you talk about your value-added taxes and your other taxes that you feel like you have control over, but that control is just an illusion.
So let me ask you this. So tell me this. How do you feel that the taxes should be paid? How do we fund? Because the government should be much smaller. I agree with that. And if we stop trying to control every aspect of people's lives and we shrunk the government, then absolutely we would be able to it would cost a lot less money. I am a firm believer that social programs should be curtailed and done away with. So I'm down with all that. At a certain point, I mean, let's be honest, we live not under a republic anymore. We live more under a democratic socialism, right? I mean,
and that is true.
So you and I both agree on that. So, but you tell me, what is the solution? What would your tax plan be?
My plan to fund the government would be that people pay for services that they want. If they don't want a service, they don't pay for it.
So how is
my
that
mother's
different?
Over there buying.
How is that different from a sales tax?
Well, if I want a specific service, I pay for that specific service.
How's that?
Not if I want to fund the government, I pay taxes. But if I want a specific government service, I pay for it.
So the idea that we're going to put a 10% tax on any goods that you consume.
Social safety net is socialism.
Is she advocating for Social Security right now?
I don't know. She's going out to smoke a cigarette.
All right. At least she won't be collecting much Social Security.
Lottery from time to time.
Okay,
But
so speaking of, I'm glad you mentioned lottery, because I think that would be a great way to fund the government. Just the government could sell lottery tickets, and then one lucky winner, and everyone who wants to fund the government could buy lottery tickets to help fund the government, and then one lucky person gets a tax return. Very.
That's an interesting phrase.
that
And then if I don't want to fund the government and fund government abortions and our government killing people in Yemen, I don't have to.
Okay, so how does the military get funded?
That's a good question.
I know. I don't ask bad questions.
Well, anyway. So have you read the book? I mentioned the book in Discord a couple times, The Myth of National Defense.
No.
It's basic the thesis of the book.
Give me the Cliff Notes version.
I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes. The thesis of the book is that generally all defense, just like any other government service, could be privatized as well.
That sounds like government with extra steps, or taxation with extra steps.
So let's say you want police protection, you purchase security protection from a private company instead of a single monopolized government service provider. For national defense, good grief, the whole population should just be armed. That way, if in case we're invaded, we can defend ourselves. We have 300 million Americans, or however many Americans there are nowadays. 300 million Americans all were well armed without any restrictions to the armaments that they could own. Then how could we be conquered?
Yeah, because we could all shoot down those North Korean nukes with no issues.
No, we invented those nukes. I think everyone should have nukes. Then we'd all be very polite to each other.
It sounds like you would like Travis Corcoran. I think I'm saying that right.
Is.
He's a guy who wrote a book called Powers of the Earth, about a moon colony that a libertarian founded. And everything is basically as you described, especially when it comes to security. Everyone contracts with a security company who all have agreements with each other. The problem I see with it, though, is, and he tackles it a bit in the book, of if someone doesn't contract with a company.
So that would make them a free rider. Well, they don't get protection. They don't get protection.
So
they have no agreements with anyone anyway. So it all comes down to lethal force But
why should the government have a monopoly on lethal force? What gives them the right to do that?
The books don't dwell too much on that, other than the complexities that arise when someone trespassed, and they didn't specifically know they trespassed because they were in a kind of a public area. The people in particular were from Earth, where you can be in a lot of public places.
The Earthlings didn't know the lunar culture.
Yeah, pretty much. They were all so liberal, so there was that too. But one of them let their contract with the security company lapse, and the guys that jailed them basically had no idea how to act at all. They threw him in a private prison, and then they processed him and let him go. And
so they should be let go because
they were going to throw him in a court, but he has no agreement with any of them about any of their private property or any of their courts. But he's having this argument as if it matters that he's going to be thrown in a private court, right? But at the same time, their whole argument is that you can't you have a choice on whether to contract with these people. And if you have a choice, then you have a choice to say no. How can this court, which you're supposed to be able to willingly submit to, have any power over you if you decide you don't want to participate?
Yeah, why should they participate? I mean, they're not from the moon, and apparently they didn't have, I don't know. I'd have to I'd have to read the story. I think I'm probably missing a whole lot in that.
Maybe, but you have to kind of just divorce the private security from the individual. Like, you're basically contracting certain things with a security company in this perfect libertarian moon colony, because you're having them act on your behalf, right? But if you don't have any relationship like that, or if you let's say you just contract with a company who has no agreements, and if you trespass on their property, they could just force you to be in a jail for the rest of your life. You have no other recourse. You have no one who can come to your defense.
I think if somebody is trespassing on your property, you should be able to ward them off, however you.
I agree with that.
So one guy with a gun is going to ward off an entire mafia.
Well, what gives the government a more right to use force than the mafia?
Or an entire gang. So you and your 20-acre farm, with your wife and your kids running the farm, have a group of 20 guys that show up with guns that want to take over your farm and say, hey, from here on out, if you want our protection from us, we are going to extort you for half of your crops. What is your recourse for that?
So does that not already happen today?
Not to that extent. No.
That's sort of an extreme argument wherever, right?
No. It's not an extreme argument. I really hate the idea that I feel.
Isn't that what the government is about to be doing anyway? They're about to become that very mafia you talked about. If Bernie Sanders or someone like that gets elected,
yeah, and you're contributing to the problem. You're contributing to the problem. You're contributing to the problem by saying, "Hey, I'm going to, out of principle, not vote for the one guy who actually wants to stand up against that tyranny."
But he's not. He's not for shrinking the size of government.
You've already admitted
increasing the size of government, which is going to increase our tax burden anyway. So it doesn't matter who comes in
that he is the best president that you've ever had the ability to vote for.
In order to fund this bloated government, our taxes are going to have to go up to about 50% anyway.
My tax is already at 50%. I'm already at 50%. I understand this argument, and that's the reason why. Absolutely, yeah. Between state, between federal, between land, between fuel, gas tax. I have state tax here. Between sales tax, between all those taxes, I'm paying about 50% of my income in taxes. So absolutely, I'm living under that already.
So maybe stop paying taxes to the government and just pay taxes to the mafia.
Might be cheaper, actually.
Okay,
you might save some money and get some better protection.
That sounds really good, and it does. But I'm actually trying to talk about things that we can actually do to better our situation and to have a better future for our families. The problem that I have with big L libertarianism, right, is because we're going to have to figure out how to work within the confines of what we currently have. Even going back to the republic that we were founded to be, we still would not be at the extreme levels that you're talking about. This extremism of, hey, everybody willy-nilly do it. And I'm fine with that. But what you are proposing sounds a lot more like anarchy than any type of government, which if everyone was going to be as moral as you and I and Soder, I would be perfectly fine living under an anarchy and under anarcho system.
And those who are not as moral as us would end up getting themselves unpersoned.
Well, but you say that, but there are a whole lot of people that are existing today that are far less moral than we are. and they seem to
And
be getting a lot further ahead.
We're just warehousing them in jails at the government expense.
No, they're not in jails. They're actually not. They're actually in Washington D.C. A lot of them are. Okay.
Yeah. And so over 50% of your paycheck is being taken, and you somehow think that
No. I want my tax burden really lowered, absolutely. But I also am an adult enough to realize that the only way that I'm going to change the system is from within the system. I understand that I have to not tear the whole thing down and start all over, but I have to modify the system that we already have to try to get back to where we started. Go ahead.
For you, where do you draw the line at saying that we need to boogaloo? Where's that line for you? Because you're already paying over 50% of your income in taxes. You're already, have agreed that the government has no business doing a lot of what it does, including killing babies. You've already agreed that, to a whole bunch of sort of morally questionable things that our government is doing. Where do you draw the line? Like, say, here, this far and no more? If you, Mr. Work within the system, because I'm an adult.
I would say that for where I'm comfortable, we passed that point quite some time ago.
But that's exactly where I'm comfortable. They've turned the heat up so slowly that now you're justifying government abuse by saying I'm going to be an adult and pay these exorbitant taxes.
I'm all for the revolt. I'm all for the revolt, but I would also replace the system with a representative form of government. I don't want there to be no representation. I don't want there to be no, to an extent, centralized government of any kind. I feel that there is a benefit, and I believe that having a centralized representative form of government is necessary, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm also adult enough to realize, and I know this is not going to go over well, but I realize that in order to be governed, that some of my rights have to be relinquished in order to be governed. As long as I'm the one that's in control of relinquishing those rights, I can make a decision as an adult and say, you know what, I'm willing to give this right to you in order to be governed. I'm willing to do that.
So which rights are you willing to give up in order to be governed?
I can name one.
Name one.
Bump stocks.
I don't feel like a bump stock is necessarily a right that I'm giving up. It's a thing. But I would say that I'm willing to give up. I'm willing. I think the things that I'm willing to give up are going to be in the form of laws, right? Laws that state that I can't
own a bump stock.
You're really stuck on this bump stock thing, aren't you?
Oh, it's just an example, Q. Just an example.
That any food that I buy in the grocery store has to go through a certain testing process to make sure that it is free of certain pathogens. I'm willing to give up my right to be ill and to serve my kids tainted meat for that. I'm willing to do that. Now, does that mean that the government needs to be responsible for doing that? No, but there needs to be some type of an organization set up in order to ensure that we are eating things that are not tainted, and that the restaurant that I go to.
But do you need to give up a right for that?
Well, I mean, there is a certain right in the form of taxes that I'm going to have to give up in order to ensure that that's done.
Why does that need to happen, though? Like, why can't you? Like, people buy, like, just think about the organic labeling process that has happened over the last 20 years. it went from a niche, all right, here's the organic stuff in the health food section, to it's literally all over the grocery store. And we have grocery stores where there's nothing but organic products. There's no government agency that oversees that, but there's brands and
there are government agencies that oversee that.
The USDA threshold for that is really, really low.
Okay, and I get that, and I do 100% get that.
My point more is that there wasn't this government directive that happened, right? And even if there wasn't, you can still vote with your wallet on what brands you want to buy. Like, take for instance the USDA and meat. You do not need a government organization to test meat. You just need an organization that's not necessarily the person who's butchering the meat, right? You just need a trusted brand, like what is it, Zygot something or other, that does chicken testing. The KFC has it plastered all over their businesses.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's private, but the point is, like, they test chicken.
Okay.
No, wait, are they more like a restaurant thing? Anyway, the point is, they're a private organization that rates things and tests things.
Okay.
Why do we need and just look for a Zygot or whatever they're called restaurant for stuff? Like, it becomes trusted through that, like we trust the kind of like how we trust the USDA. But there could be multiple organizations that test and rank and filter these products. We don't need a government organization necessarily to do it.
Okay, so let's.
So why give up the right?
Okay, so let's move on to the military, right?
No, I want to get in with this one. So what someone was saying first. So with coffee, you'll see a lot of for a long time people were upset that a lot of the large coffee chains like Starbucks were selling coffee where they did not feel like the coffee was sourced from those who were treating their workers in an ethical manner like we would want them to be.
Fair trade.
So they developed. Now, fair trade is not regulated by the U.S. government at all, but a lot of people choose to buy fair trade coffee because they want to vote with their dollars on how they want where they want their money to go, what sort of businesses they want to support. And so you see a lot. I see here, and I don't know about down there, but here in Fairbanks, I see more fair trade coffee places than I do non. And that has nothing to do with a government initiative. That's people saying, I will not support businesses that I don't trust.
Okay.
Same thing with any business. If the government stepped out of it, the free market would step into it with a solution.
Okay. And I'm not going to argue that on that level that there could not be a free market solution. It's possible there would be. Let's talk about security. Let's talk about border security. Let's talk about the military, right? I understand that you have this idea that, hey, we can just have little militias and we can have private security firms, and those private security firms will protect us from the North Koreans and from the Russians and from God. Even
so, listen, if we are under attack, well, why can't we have private air security too? Why can't people have their own little? I mean, people can own private planes.
Okay, so you're gonna rush out and go buy an F-16 and patrol the skies for us is your civic duty? I mean, come on, Stephen.
So do I know how all of those solutions work? No, you're expecting me to have a fully fleshed out like what if scenario. Like I've thought about every single what if scenario, and no, I haven't. But on the other hand, you're saying, well, if you don't have all that fleshed out, then you should vote for Trump. Whereas Trump is leading us down this road of bloated government that we're never going to recover from, and they're going to start taking more than 50% of your income of your income. But you're going to wait for the revolution until someone else gets in government because the person in your tribe is in power.
So you don't see how you have a better chance. You have a better chance of making your argument to a President Trump and seeing a solution than what you would making yours argument to a President Ilhan Omar or a President Hillary Clinton or a President Bernie Sanders. I mean, you're going to have to work
from a perspective of trampling on our rights. I'm not sure Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is a murderous old bag. Just to let you know, that's my opinion on Hillary Clinton. But as far as preserving our rights, I don't know that Hillary Clinton would have been a whole lot worse than Trump. As far as
oh my gosh.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So what? So you think that Hillary Clinton would have been?
I think I need to call an ambulance because my parents are falling down on the floor and dying.
So you just told me about 10 minutes ago that you felt that Hillary Clinton, or that President Trump was probably the best president that we've had in our adult years. So you're honestly telling me you think Hillary Clinton would have been one of the best presidents that we've had in our adult years? Can you honestly say
on a spectrum of good, better, best, I don't know. But when you look back at the Clinton policies of the 90s, and that's Bill and Hillary in the White House in the 90s.
Wasn't Bill and Hillary,
Trump,
Bill.
And
okay, go ahead.
And President Trump in 2019. What are the differences between the two sets of policies?
The USMCA versus
so you got NAFTA, okay,
versus NAFTA. So one of the points that you said that you applaud Trump on is the USMCA, the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, right?
Sure. Well,
versus NAFTA. Let's just judge them on those.
To answer on NAFTA, it was
absolutely disastrous.
It was disastrous, but it was disastrous. Yeah, but take a look at all the other things. Besides just not just NAFTA, the Clintons in the 90s were super pro border control, and they wanted to kick out little immigrant children back to Cuba for they that they didn't like. So little brown children they didn't like from the wrong country, they sent them back.
Yeah, I say kick out all the little brown children that aren't American citizens. Absolutely.
So I don't see any difference between
all the little brown children that are not American citizens whose parents are here illegally. Kick them out. 100%.
Oh no, Elian Gonzalez's father was here legally.
Who?
Elian Gonzalez.
His mother was here.
Oh, his mother was here legally. His mother was here.
His father was in Cuba.
And they sent that little boy back to Cuba.
Okay. With
the Republicans howling against it.
Yeah.
Because it was tribal differences.
Yeah, Trump would have never done that. Where's the Elian Gonzalez in the Trump administration?
Okay, so but
seriously, where's Trump's version of that?
But that was talked about an immigration and border security issue for the Democrats in the 1990s. That's all under that heading. That's how I just bring that up to illustrate how they were very much against, sort of illegal immigration and mass migration. The opposite of what they are today. But I don't see a difference between a 2020 Trump and a 1990 Clinton.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, if looks could kill, man, I have a feeling you'd have daggers in the side of your head right now.
You know what? I'm just glad that there's nothing heavy around.
And you have witnesses?
Yeah, I'm on live stream, so that my impending murder. The next Twitter hashtag will be Steve-O did not kill himself.
Do you have any suicidal thoughts right now, man? Do you have any information that might lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton?
No, I don't.
Sounds like you have suicidal thoughts.
Okay, wait, my dad's gonna chime in. Go ahead, Dad. Between 1990s Clinton and now Trump, what's the difference?
What party do the Clintons belong to?
What party do the Clintons belong to? The Clintons belong to the Democratic Party.
When Trump decided to go with what party?
Well, Trump is a Republican now, but like back then.
Yes. Trump is a Republican now. That's the difference. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican, or two of them are Democrats, one's a Republican. This country has shifted its values from the Democrats, who were Democrats, not communists back then.
The Democrats weren't communists back in 1990?
Back in 1990, not 1890. He's not that old, Soder.
I said 1990.
And I would honestly, and I would say that if Bill Clinton were running today, in all fairness, he would have to run as a Republican if he were running today. Same thing with JFK.
Yeah, he'd have to run as a Republican. Yeah.
JFK, same thing. If JFK were running today,
oh my gosh, it's the Southern strategy, but now it's for the millennials.
If JFK were running today, he'd have
what on earth the argument you're making is, and what the point is, other than to be incredibly stupid. You're literally. I was joking about the Clintons needing to run as a Republican in 2020, or the 1990s Clintons to run. They would need to run as Republicans. Are you seriously saying that they would have to?
Well, if they were today.
There's no place in the. I mean, you can see just how far we've come. I mean, Joe Biden came into the race trying to take a moderate approach, and he was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. God bless her. God bless her. She is probably the best thing that's happened to America in a very, very long time. And I mean that. I mean that wholeheartedly. She is fantastic. Especially for our cause. She is probably one of the most honest politicians that we've seen in a very long time. I don't agree with what she has to say. I don't agree with what she stands for, but at least she is exposing the hypocrisy of the left for what it truly is. For a very, very long time, the far left movement has been moving further and further towards communism. Socialism.
Well, according to this stream, so have the Republicans, but they're like 30 years behind.
I understand that they're socialism light is what the Republican Party has become. I get that.
No, they're socialism 30 years ago.
Quentin, let me ask you a question. So what if it were just Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton that you could vote for? Like, for some reason, Hillary Clinton got the Republican nomination. And so you had to vote for Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama back in 2008. 2008? Yeah.
Yeah, 2008.
Who would you have voted for?
Who would be
because
running?
From a libertarian perspective, that's the kind of choice I'm facing.
Who would be the Republican candidate?
If Hillary Clinton, not John McCain, was the Republican candidate, versus versus Barack Obama as the Democratic candidate. I understood this is a totally fantastical scenario, right?
Yeah, no, it's not fantastic at all. I would probably stay at home. I'll probably stay home and not vote at all.
So you would have voted for Barack Obama? Is that what you're telling me? That's what I heard.
No, actually, funny enough, joke's on you. I did vote for Obama in 2008.
Oh, okay. So, well, all you brown people. But okay. So
stop proving fatty right. Stop right now.
Yeah.
Follow-up question to that is, what rights would Hillary Clinton have trampled on that Barack Obama did not trample on? Or in what way would Hillary Clinton have been a worse or greater president than Barack Obama?
I guess I'll never be able to answer that, because Hillary Clinton has proven to be far more progressive than even her husband was. So, you're trying to tie both of those together, and they're two totally different people. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are two totally different people. So to tie the politics of Bill Clinton to the politics of Hillary Clinton is not fair. You can't do that, because they would govern entirely differently.
And I do remember that even during the Clinton presidency, there were political cartoons made about the differences between the two, especially after Bill Clinton got kicked out of the Southern Baptist Convention, the only sitting president to ever be kicked out of his church. The Southern Baptists kicked him out for voting for pro-abortion, for signing pro-abortion law.
Okay.
Back when Americans probably had a little bit more of a spine. No church today would ever kick a sitting politician out, including Bible Baptist Church.
Are you at 100%?
Yes. Why?
Oh, hey, they can hear every word you're saying. I know. Do you need another charger, Mom, or what do you need?
I wanted him to check the cord to see if it charged with his phone. Got.
Okay. I might have to leave and fix some technical issues.
Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine.
They're boomering up these chargers here.
It's not my block. It's the cord. And I wanted to verify it.
Okay. Hashtag not my block.
Not my block.
It's already charged. I'm not sure.
Okay, so Soder, you're obnoxiously anarchist. God, I feel like Tim. I know what Tim is feels like. Jesus.
You're Tim.
Yeah. I feel like
now he needs to hear this. I'm gonna clip this.
I feel like
send it to him.
I feel like Black Tim. Like, yeah. Wow. So you tell me this. So you consider yourself a Republican, right?
Sure, let's go with that until it bites me in the ass.
Bull crap, because you're the one that convinced me when I told you that I was leaving the Republican Party. You said, look, we have to have a platform. The Republicans are as close a thing as we have, and we have more chance of making changes from within the Republican Party than we do from outside, or even from the Libertarian Party. Is that not what you said?
GOP disciple?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He actually talked. Well, we'll go into that story off the air. What he talked me into doing.
Should we talk about what preceded that conversation a little bit?
Go ahead. Yeah.
You wanted to pursue political office. I was like, for the best chance you're going to have right here in this area is to caucus with the Republicans.
So he talked me into selling my soul to the Republicans, Stephen. So, yeah, told me I needed to caucus with them. It sounded like fun, but yeah, it ended up not being so fun. So
yeah, so this is
maybe for you, it was hilarious. For me, while you were part of it,
this is like, to me, this looks like when the cult realizes that the cult leader is evil and turns and eats him. So Q, go ahead and eat Soder.
Just trying to keep him on the plantation.
Yeah. Get
in touch with your headhunter heritage. Just eat them.
Yeah, definitely on the Republican plantation. Which look, I realize that changes need to come. I feel that because we have a binary choice between Republicans or Democrats. I feel that if I had to sit down with President Donald Trump, or I had to sit down with President Bernie Sanders, I feel that I would have a much better chance of getting the types of reforms that I look to get in changing things the way that I feel like I would have a much better chance of making a change by sitting down and having a discussion with Donald Trump than I would by having a discussion with Bernie Sanders. That's just my honest to goodness opinion. I think that if you were to argue with that, I think that you're not being honest with yourself. Donald Trump has been far more conservative than I expected he would be. I wasn't sure exactly how conservative he was actually going to be. I'll tell you the only reason in the world why I actually pulled the trigger for Donald Trump in the beginning, and the reason why I was excited about him, was solely because he was funding his own campaign. That to me was fantastic because I felt like he was going to be someone who was going to push an agenda based on what he thought was right, as opposed to pushing an agenda that he was forced to push because he had taken money from outside sources. So I felt that he would be more apt to do what he thought was right as opposed to doing what he thought was going to satisfy the people who
politically expedient.
Exactly. So that is what excited me about him. I didn't know much about his politics because none of us did. I listened to what he said. I listened to him talking about America first. I listened to him talking about bringing back industry to the United States, bringing back jobs, fixing our economy. I thought all those things. Now, I'll agree with you in the sense that the government shouldn't have, our economy shouldn't rise and fall based on who's in our office and who's in the office. I agree with that 100%. The problem is as we stand and as things are right now, that is the mess that we find ourselves in. So how do we survive the encounter? How do we deal with that until we can finally work our way back to where we're supposed to be? First off is by teaching our kids the truth, right? First off is teaching the next generation what is true. This whole idea that we've accepted that our democracy, bullshit. No, sorry, I hope my parents didn't hear that. Bullshit. We don't live under a democracy. As soon as I hear someone talk about, oh, well, our democracy, no, we don't have a democracy. And the reason why we don't have a democracy is because democracies do not last. You cannot show me a single place on earth that a democracy has lasted for any amount of time. Democracies will end, and our this democracy experiment that we are attempting to try always ends in socialism. It always ends there. Unless we get back to what we were created to be, unless we get back to this idea of the republic, unless we bring the republic back, we're doomed for failure. We really are. We are doomed for failure. But are we going to have a better chance of getting back there with Trump, or are we going to have a better chance of getting back there with Bernie Sanders?
I think the percentage of chance of getting to where you're talking about is 0 on both sides.
Well, my thoughts exactly. Thank you for such concise words.
So you're saying that we should just give up now and crawl under a hole because we're screwed either way?
Well, you're saying that if you're in my seat, you would just stay home and not vote. I'm saying is we should vote for I'm saying I would vote for the third party candidate. So I don't
which
know
which there is no third party candidate as of now.
So I don't know that. Well, not this second. So I don't know that you and I are in really dissimilar places.
Donald,
I think it's.
But Gary Johnson was an absolute idiot. Was an absolute idiot.
Just because he doesn't know where Aleppo was. Do you know what? He was the only person on any of the tickets who'd ever signed pro-life legislation, and he did believe in limited government.
Okay, so he signed pro-life legislation. Great.
Has Donald Trump signed any pro-life legislation?
Yeah, Yeah, he has. He has signed pro-life legislation.
Send me a link sometime.
I will. I'll send you that. But yes, he has signed pro-life legislation. Right now, go ahead.
I'm curious, what kind of pro-life legislation, Stephen?
He's saying any type of pro-life legislation.
When Gary Johnson was
bar really low.
Oh, that's true. I did set the bar really low because I was not super excited about Johnson either. I wasn't super excited about anybody in 2016. All right. Actually, I was sort of excited about Ted Cruz. I'll give you that. I think Ted Cruz would have been, even though he did have a strangely awkward relationship with. Don't give me that look.
No, I'm gonna give you that look.
Ted Cruz's father did not kill JFK.
That would be Harvey Oswald.
But she's drunk the orange flavored Kool-Aid. Well, you're also presuming Lee Harvey Oswald was really the assassin too. I have no idea where I was going with that.
Lee Harvey Oswald was a LARP, right? Right, Soder?
What?
I was sort of excited.
Lee Harvey Oswald was a LARP, right?
I was a patsy for Bush. God, I hope you all saw that.
You know, we should have like a conspiracy theory stream.
Conspiracy stream?
Invite people who believe weird conspiracy theories to tell us, like.
Oh, we could get Diet Soda on and talk about QAnon.
And Orgasmic Whales, you are totally wrong. George Bush Sr. did not kill JFK. JFK was killed by Lyndon B. Johnson.
Oh, I was going to say, Ted Cruz, I was excited about him, even though he had a very strangely awkward, close relationship with the co-founder of PayPal.
His wife worked for Goldman Sachs. He was in the.
I'm not.
He was in the hole. Come on.
I'm not saying that Ted Cruz is gay. I just think that relationship was very strange.
I'm not saying that he was gay at all. I didn't know that's where you were going with the oddly strange.
No, so the co-founder of PayPal, who opened up he's the guy who opened up the 2016 Republican convention. Remember?
Yeah.
The 2016 Republican convention where all of us Ted Cruz supporters had our hearts broken. The opening speaker was the co-founder of PayPal, who opened up with a statement that he's Republican, gay, and proud. That's like one of Ted Cruz's best friends. And that was the opening for the 2016 Republican National Convention.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was one of the. There are a lot of things about the Cruz family that's strange.
So you have a thing for gay Cubans?
I'm not saying that.
I mean, just that's what I got out of it. I mean, but it just shows that you have a hard time picking winners and picking the winning side.
I do have a hard time picking the winner. I know. It's like I'm not you must be much closer to that than I am.
Oh yeah, I have a knack for picking winners, and
you have a direct line to the Prince of Darkness.
No, not the Prince of Darkness, just the winning side. So
that's my new conspiracy theory I'm going to float, is that Q has a direct line with Satan.
Yeah,
you're starting to sound like Muhammad there, man.
Right. Yeah, the only devils I consort with are the white ones.
So he is.
Anyway, this is gonna get so torn off.
This is gonna be so demonetized.
It probably already is.
It already is. Yeah. As soon as the thumbnail went up, it was demonetized. That's just kind of the way it goes around here.
All the Super Bowl lovers demonetized it.
Yeah. So check this. So Trump put out a. Well, let me ask you, since you're a Wokian, so what did you think about Trump? And do you? Well, let me ask you this first off, Stephen. Do you love black people?
I love you.
Okay, I didn't ask you that. I'm saying I'm saying you base 42, but do you love black people?
I do.
Okay, so you love black people. So what did you think about the Prison Reform Act that Trump signed?
I think it was not enough. That's something also that I think was something good that Trump did.
Well, you didn't. It's funny. All the stuff you mentioned, you didn't mention that. So clearly that wasn't.
You kept interrupting me.
I didn't interrupt you. I let you go, but you didn't interrupt.
The criminal justice reform was a step in the right direction.
Okay, so it was a step in the right direction, a much larger step than anyone else had made prior to, right?
Probably, since all the previous Republicans and Democrats in power had always ramped up their rhetoric on being tough on, in order to ramp up the rhetoric on being even more tough on crime than the person before, had begun to skew justice in a way that was not just. I think President Trump's criminal justice reform was a step in the right direction.
Okay.
Not far enough.
Okay. And I would agree, but I mean, it was probably as far as he could probably go without getting Congress involved. And
without getting Congress involved. He did get Congress involved. Congress passed that.
Oh, I understand that, but anything more, I think Congress would have had a lot more to say about it.
But you know what? But here's something: if he had really pushed that and had made the Democrats freak out about it, because they had freaked out about it more than the Republicans. Many of the Republicans would have too, but the Democrats louder.
Okay.
That he could have really done a lot to destabilize what little Democrat base is left.
Okay, fair enough. So
he could have made that a real big thing instead of maybe the wall or the tariffs.
During the Super Bowl, he aired a commercial, which he actually had one of the women who was sentenced to a really unfair. Oh, there he goes. You guys are in trouble now. I got my boomer with me.
It's Doug.
Doug, you saw Q was drowning, so you
I wasn't. No, the hell with that. I wasn't drowning at all. But I am re-energized.
It was looking like you were from the inner city.
Yeah. Whoa. I can swim just fine, by the way. So yeah, Doug. So I'm talking to these millennials here, and
good kids.
They're okay youth. They're okay chaps, but they're telling me neither one of them is planning on voting for Trump because
whoa.
No, I'm
not words in my mouth.
No, I'm not putting anything in your mouth. No,
they're squishy on it. They're squishy on it.
He's so.
I'm not squishy on it. I'm not voting for Trump.
Okay. So he's not voting for Trump, and Soder says he's a maybe Trumper. Maybe Trumper.
We'll take that. That's a victory over another Trumper. That's a maybe.
Well,
Trumper.
but and then our guy. What's his name? Steven. Yeah.
Steven, nice to meet you. I'm Doug.
I'm joking.
Nice to meet you, Doug.
So Steven says that he is a Trump. He's Trump neutral. Kind of like gender neutral, only less.
Only with orange hair.
Only with orange. Yeah. So and his reason for that is he's really upset that Trump did not that he did away with bump stocks. That tends to be his sticking point, that Trump did away with bump stocks, even though he never bought one, never owned a bump stock.
Never owned a bump stock.
Never owned.
Quentin, you made the big deal about bump stocks. I was going to go into that in passing, and the commando raids in Yemen, I think, are a bigger deal than that. But you really were on it with the bump stocks.
No. I was hound dogging it out, man. I was a bloodhound on the trail because you said that he was against he violated the Second Amendment. He was anti-Second Amendment. And I asked you how he was anti-Second Amendment, and you brought up the bump stocks. So Doug.
Well, he also says he would support future gun control legislation regarding background checks and things like that.
Q has a bump stock on his bump stock.
Man, dude,
he lost those in his boating accident.
It's like a human centipede of bump stocks.
Yeah, I had about 40 bump stocks and on about 40 ARs, and unfortunately they're all at the bottom of the lake.
Bottom of the lake. So. I don't know anything about them. Don't even know what a bump stock is.
At the bottom of the lake. So this is what I've been forced to deal with tonight.
Yeah. And you already gave the strategy of the third party problem of voting for third place, throwing your vote away. The throwing your vote away thing. They'll have their Teflon against.
You mean like Q did in our hypothetical situation earlier?
Yeah.
No. They tried to back me in the corner to make me choose.
It sounded like you were.
Yeah. Okay, so Doug, let me back this up real quick. So essentially, the argument was, well, not essentially. The argument was that the president Clinton in the 90s, that President Clinton was, if he were to run today, he would probably be considered a moderate or even a left-leaning Republican, right?
Yeah. He was against gay marriage. He was against late third trimester abortions. He'd be a right winger.
He was for border security, right?
Right.
Against illegal immigration. So that he would have been considered a Republican probably, right?
Yeah.
So there was this false narrative that because Bill was a Republican, was more conservative, that his wife would be also, which I think is absolutely bogus, because Hillary is far more progressive, and has always been.
Both of them would be all for aborting a 3-year-old child now, and all for mandatory gun recall. Both of them would be.
They've aborted 30-year-olds.
My goodness,
Terry Schiavo.
Republican's going to be in 30 years at this rate. Are we also going to be for that?
They aborted Terry Schiavo.
Right. So with that being said, the hypothetical situation that they brought to me was, so if Hillary Clinton were running against Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton obviously being the Republican choice, who would I vote for? Right.
Right.
And I said, well, today's me, 2020 me, I couldn't vote for either one in good conscience. But the joke's on them. I voted for Obama in 2008, right? I couldn't in good conscience vote for. I liked if that ticket had been Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
I would have voted for Sarah Palin.
Yeah, I thought they got them mixed up.
They did. They did. But I would rather vote for Romney than vote for John McCain. I can't.
You're not saying the M word.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The M word. We're not even mentioning his name on our show.
I would have probably voted for Hillary over Obama. Probably. I do think she's slightly more conservative than he is.
Oh my goodness. This stream is taking such a weird turn.
Because I don't believe in. Hold on, Stephen. I don't believe in going neutral with my vote. I believe you always vote for it's number one or number two. You have to pick one of those two. If it's Hitler versus less than Hitler, you vote for less than Hitler.
So you would not have voted for Abraham Lincoln?
No, I'd have voted for Abraham Lincoln between the two candidates.
No, he was the third party candidate.
Oh, but he won.
Exactly.
He wasn't the third party. He was the number one candidate.
So
Lincoln number one.
Yeah.
So
and by the way, number two would be to the right, and number 3 would be to the right of anyone we're looking at today.
Okay, so George Bush the second, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Which is the best president of the 3?
Bush the second by far, by a mile.
Yeah. Sorry, Doug. We're going to have you on another time.
Supreme Court pick, son. Supreme Court pick, friend. Supreme Court pick. Alito. Bush the first gave you Clarence Thomas. Big mistake. You guys got to look at what presidents actually do. If it's Trump versus Bloomberg, who just did a Super Bowl ad on how he's a gun grabber and will fight the NRA, and you're paranoid about gun stocks, and you're iffy on, and you're iffy on that choice.
Yeah,
you're nuts.
And Stephen and Soder over here talking about giving their vote to, giving their vote to Elizabeth Warren, right?
You guys are arguing the first 2, right? Hitler, slightly less than Hitler, and ignoring that there's a third candidate.
But that third candidate doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of getting in. So you are literally giving your vote away to Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders or whoever the hell comes out of that mess that they have over
all of whom would grab your bump stock before Trump would. So Trump may grab it.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that we finally have somebody on the show who's actually thinking with their brain as
I am an adult. This is a millennial problem because they're living in a fantasy.
Right? Aren't they? Kids these days. Good God almighty.
Kids, they are going to they will take your gun and run it through your pregnant wife's belly.
And so what I've been arguing, Doug, is that if I had to go into a meeting and present my case to Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, or whoever comes out of that mess on the left, or had to go in and have a conversation with Donald Trump, which one do I feel that I would have a better chance of persuading in a private one-on-one discussion?
It would be Trump by a mile.
By a long distance.
And who's going to appoint the Supreme Court judge that will protect the Second Amendment for a lifetime? Trump or Elizabeth Warren?
Well, Soder, go ahead and answer that.
Gary Johnson.
A life.
Gary Johnson was an idiot.
Boy, he was a pot smoking fool. He would put some weirdo in on the Supreme Court.
Let's not disparage smoking pot. Come on now, that's not what we're doing tonight. So
I do disparage smoking pot because I never met a winner who smoked it. Never met a man.
I know you've never met Elon Musk or the founding fathers.
Loser. Welfare state cars. Without the welfare state, his whole business would be turned upside down. That guy's never run a profit. He doesn't know how to run a business. He gets the states to give him free money to develop his cars. That's Karl Marx motor cars and rocket ships. Karl Marx approved. Total pot smoker.
Total pot smoker.
All these potheads can't get off the couch.
Oh my gosh!
It's for medical reasons.
Hey, come on now. We were going in such a great direction.
Well, okay, but I'm only saying. I think you've made your point clear to these guys that whoever's going against Trump. Let me know who has a higher rating with at least the NRA. Who has the higher rating with the NRA? Vote for that guy.
Would you guys agree with that, or are you guys anti-NRA?
Either choice is going to make me look racist, I think.
I'm more of a NAGA guy than I am an NRA guy. So
a NAGA
guy, yeah, National Association for African American Gun Owners.
Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't because you're not a NAGA guy.
Well,
so
my NAGA.
Is that an A or is that like a hard A?
It's a no hard A. It's a soft A. But yeah, I'm more of a NAGA NAGA fan.
That's a name that sounds like it's made to get people in trouble.
So I'm saying let's go with the NAGA rating on these candidates. It's going to be Trump versus Warren.
Yeah. So who would you go for as far as since the Second Amendment, Stephen, is so important to you? And by the way,
not as important as right to life. I think that.
I agree. To me, that's the number one. Right to life is number one. And name what candidate is going to be more right to life.
He doesn't like Trump because he feels that Trump is pro-choice.
Well, the only metric that you have to go on is the Mexico City law, which Trump reversed first day of office, as did Bush, as did Reagan, and it got reversed by Clinton and Obama, and will be reversed. And that's when we pay for the abortions in other countries. That's one dog whistle that you can look at. The other one is the Supreme Court picks, which again you have to go Kavanaugh and Gorsuch versus whoever.
Stephen Powell doesn't care about brown babies being killed in other countries, just this one.
Just this one. Well, then we'll stick it. Well, this one has a lot of brown babies.
I don't worry about other countries.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Well,
until it's Yemen, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, until it's us committing crimes in Yemen, we just leave all the other countries alone.
Well, this country
Yemen,
kills 50% of black babies in New York. So that's on you, and that's going to stop at the Supreme Court level. So who's going to appoint a lifetime judge? Elizabeth Warren or Trump? Trump has actually picked two that you can look at as constitutional Supreme Court justices.
Really? Because Kavanaugh has a pretty awful record when it comes to things like he has issued rulings in favor of Planned Parenthood before, and he's also not very good with the Fourth Amendment, which is kind of a big deal.
But better or worse than what Warren would appoint?
Well, it's like Hitler or a little less than Hitler. Come on, what are we? No,
and we've already established you go a little less than Hitler.
It's actually Hitler versus Don Rickles. Like, I don't like Don Rickles as a president, but that doesn't mean that he and Hitler are tied. You know what I mean? It's like, this isn't even close. It's not Hitler and less than Hitler. It is constitutional conservative judges. There are such things as more constitutional judges. We just haven't seen them appointed before. So I'm saying there are judges
like
that are more
unicorn. They're out there, but we haven't seen
They've never been appointed. They've never been able to pass muster. So there's a cultural thing going on here too. And I'm only saying if you can't see the difference between Sotomayor and Kavanaugh, I don't have anything for you. I mean, you're strange. You can't see the difference.
Well, I am strange. So
can you see the difference between Gorsuch and Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yes, I do. I can see a difference between the two. That's true, but it's not a gradient of between on a scale of bad to worse.
Yeah, but you would say that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, let's call her Hitler, for instance. You would categorize a Gorsuch as only slightly less than Hitler? Ruth Bader Ginsburg versus Gorsuch. It's gray to you on which one.
Our RBG is significantly worse.
Significantly worse, because you're going to get another RGB or worse from any candidate that you're talking about besides Trump. So this is the future of your country at stake.
Who do you want picking the next Supreme Court justice? Do you want
Gary Johnson or President Trump picking the next Supreme Court
Gary
justice?
Johnson can't win.
Yeah, because everyone votes for just less than Hitler instead of a third party who's the opposite of Hitler.
I'm sorry, I have a hard time voting for the guy who doesn't even know where Aleppo is.
Are you already dead?
Yeah, and Gary Johnson has already vocally said that he is softer on abortion than Trump was. Gary Johnson has verbally said it.
Huh.
So I don't know. I don't think the number one issue is number one to you guys.
Stephen, did you hear that? Is that okay?
Sorry, yeah, my attention was elsewhere. My dad's okay.
Is that okay? He is. So hey, say that again, Doug, for the people in the back.
Gary Johnson on abortion is already worse than Trump. He's already on the record.
What do you have to say about that there, Stephen Powell?
So your fantasy.
So Trump.
Wait. I'll read it to you. I'll read it to you. Let me read it to you from the Gary Johnson on Wikipedia, because this is the guy that you're floating. Because you millennials are scurrying around because you think the unborn are a joke. You think this is cute and funny. Do your homework. Gary Johnson supported the current federal laws regarding abortion. He has stated he believes that it's a woman's choice. His 2016 position page on abortion states that a woman must be allowed to make decisions about her own health, and government should not be in the business of second guessing.
That's the guy y'all voted for.
That's the guy y'all voted for. That's the guy you voted for, who's going to lose anyways.
You're wrong. I voted for Hillary, apparently. So
you want me to read Hillary's statement?
Okay. Okay, here's something I'll tell you, Doug.
You guys aren't pro-life. Go over with the SJ.
I'm sorry. Is my camera blurry? Can you see that?
Gary Johnson would have cut all government funding for abortions.
Wait. We don't know that. We don't know that because he said he supported a woman's right to choose. So we don't know that.
He would not have funded it by the government. President Trump has never challenged a budget that's come across his desk that continues to fund abortions. If you want to talk about abortions not being a joke, that right there is more important than building some fool wall down on the southern.
Wall to keep undocumented people out. Do you realize that fool wall just helped us catch a member of Al Qaeda coming across?
Would we have caught him? Okay, so we caught a bad guy trying to come across the wall.
Yeah,
that's fool's gold. Who cares about that?
When you talk about what's more important, the wall or pro-life, which one of those is more important to you?
Pro-life.
Well, I mean, but yeah, pro-life. But my life and my kids' life also. My life and my kids.
To shut down the government over the government paying to kill babies, paying doctors to kill babies, but he will shut the government down.
Everyone you've proposed, Stephen, is worse than what Trump would do with the pro-life argument. That's all I'm saying is name someone who either has conservative principle or has named a Supreme Court judge that they would appoint, which Trump gave you a list of 20. Gary Johnson is hiding behind his pro-abortion stance because he is a baby killer. And you're going to vote for him and then say that's your number one issue? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It's not that important to you guys as it is to me, because I vote accordingly. And I vote paranoid, terrified on the subject. I'm a single issue voter.
Man, God, I wish I had a mic to drop. I'm going to drop this pencil instead.
Bam. Bam. It ought to inspire you to vote for Trump twice. Dig up a body and vote on their behalf. If that's really your first issue, you should be voting twice. It shouldn't even be vague. I question your credentials on if it's that important to you. Same with the bump stock, really. But I'm just saying abortion's way more important.
And you and I are just not going to agree on perspectives on that. I think we're both pro-life people, but I don't think our method of choosing candidates is going to be filtering down the same way.
But hold on. But
do you think a candidate has anything to do with it?
Real quick. You know who's? But you and I know this to be a fact. I know this to be a fact. Stephen Powell is probably one of the most pro-life people that I know. I will say that I know him personally. Stephen Powell is probably one of the most pro-life people I know.
Yeah.
Soder, one of the most pro-life people that I know.
Apparently, the one who voted for the only 100% pro-life candidate on the ticket
was me. Because I voted for Donald Trump.
I voted for Trump, the only one that could win. You know what? If we're not going to take reality into consideration and we're going to hypotheticals of guys that have 3% that we say are going to win, I would write in the name of Jesus Christ. Because he could come back and win. You're going to say, but Doug, you're talking fantasy. Well, you're talking fantasy, you're talking 3%. Jesus would come back and win before Gary Johnson would win. He's even less than 3%. These are like 1.5%, 1%, 0.5%.
Well, you guys are playing. He was enough of a percent to cost Trump Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because there were enough people in the state of Minnesota that voted for Gary Johnson that if Gary Johnson had not been on the ballot, Trump would have won.
If you really think abortion is evil, you'd be able to swallow the wall and vote for Trump. It's similar. It is similar to when we fought Hitler. We allied with Russia, with communist Stalinist Russia, to beat that guy, and it's because we took Hitler as seriously the bigger evil. Abortion is the bigger evil. If you take it seriously, you will not have a problem with allying with Trump. It's not that he's good. It's that he's nowhere that you have to take the problem seriously. 50% of blacks are killed in New York. They're gone. And I think they demand that we be more serious about that vote. I think you can swallow a wall, and you can swallow Trump being squishy on, for political reasons, they had to pull a writer out on Planned Parenthood, which they might still get through. When you have a narrow majority, because we keep splitting the vote, and he only has like 1 or 2 squishy Republicans and Rand Paul bails, because all these libertarians are psycho. Rand Paul bails. Rand Paul bailed on pro-life votes because he demanded that they remove a certain thing about, the listening on phones device or drones. He said, if you don't remove the drone thing, I won't vote against the Planned Parenthood thing. All the politicians do it. They throw their writers in and they take certain ones out for their pet issue.
See, and then this is the thing. So
if you have a narrow majority of 2 people and they bail out, you're going to lose the vote. Trump can't get them through. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And all jokes aside, I want to be very, very careful about this and clear about this.
Yeah.
I admire all of you men.
Yeah.
And I am jealous of you in a certain sense, because you guys all have a home.
Yeah.
You feel that, Doug, you feel that your home is Republican Party.
Yeah.
Soder's found he's kind of a man of 2 homes, really. He kind of made a home between the Libertarian Party and the Republican Party. And I would consider Stephen to be pretty firmly in the libertarian space. I am a black conservative, and I'm not using my race as a crutch, and I've never done that on the show. But at the same time, there is no real home, okay, for people like me. There really isn't, because I'm not going to abandon all black people and the real issues that black people have, and the real issues that black people fight for, to say, you know what, to hell with you guys. I'm going to completely espouse the Republican Party and their view and their platform on this, because the Republican Party has done absolute crap to try to educate the black voter, who is a very conservative group of people. Hispanics, blacks are both very, very conservative groups. So why has the Republican Party not done more to win that block of votes, right? We know the Democrats don't give a rip about them, right? So I feel like I'm caught between being a conservative voice and also being a conservative voice for a certain group and a demographic of people who really have zero representation on this side. Okay. So I admire the fact that you guys have this home that you guys fit into, and I don't feel that I do, which I'm okay with that. I'm good with that, but I'm kind of caught between. I'm caught between this libertarian viewpoint, because I do see a lot of portions of libertarianism I absolutely love. The idea of limited government, of less government, of the only time the government gets involved in my day-to-day is if I am stepping on or getting or infringing upon the rights of another. I think those are fantastic views, and I wish to God we can get back to that. I would love to see our republic restored. The problem is that I realize that in this binary choice that we have between left and right, between Republican and Democrat, I see both of those groups moving closer and closer together, right? And it was much better back when I was a kid, or back in the 70s even, where there was a Republican Party, there was a Democratic Party, but there were also left and right wings within those parties, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a such thing at one point in time as a conservative Democrat.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the conservative Democrats in the South that I grew up with were far more conservative than Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
Were far more conservative than Lisa Murkowski. They were far more conservative than most of the Republicans that consider themselves Republicans today. John Boehner.
Yeah.
That group of Republicans, puke on those guys. Puke on those guys, right? So I have zero time or attention for those guys. But at the same time, I feel that the reason why I started this show was because I wanted to bridge that gap between a group of people who are only voting a certain way because they're told that that's the only option they have.
Yeah.
And true conservatism. That is why we're here. That is why the show was formulated. And so I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to represent both sides. So things like prison reform, those things mean something to me. I'll go with this with you. Things like decriminalization of marijuana, those things mean something to me. The idea that we are putting people in prison, I'll say prison for possession of marijuana is absolutely insane. We have spent more money prosecuting people for drugs than what should even be legally allowed. I mean, we have spent ungodly amounts of money on this war on drugs, and it's only made the problem worse.
Have you seen the numbers though on the people they arrest for drugs? Or do they have other violations?
What, the people that are arrested for drugs?
Yeah, they're not getting thrown in jail for an ounce of pot.
Yes, they're getting thrown in jail for owning a firearm while smoking pot.
For having a firearm while being a felon.
No.
Pot.
Yeah, you got to look up the statistics on that because it's not. It starts to clarify aggravated assault. The guys that are thrown in jail, they're usually thrown in jail for multiple causes. They also have pot on the record. It's not just they found an ounce of pot on you and you go to jail.
Doug, I'm so tired of this argument because every single time some dude gets shot by an overzealous police officer, he had marijuana in his system. Bullshit. Come on now.
I'm not saying marijuana. I'm saying spousal abuse, child abuse. Aggravated assault,
and I get that, but yeah,
there's no pristine guy who had a joint and got thrown in jail.
Yes, there is. I happen to know several of them.
No, but I'm saying it's not in general what's happening. It's wrong to say that in general is what's happening.
And if we're speaking in generalities, then okay, that's great. The problem is we don't have the luxury of living in that world of generalities, right?
Yeah.
We are dealing with people who are driving around with an ounce of marijuana in their vehicle that they have the intention of using for their own personal use, and these people are being thrown in prison, who are thrown in jail, okay, getting a misdemeanor charge, and they are not able to go and get gainful employment.
Right.
Because they have this stain on their record, right?
Sure.
And because they have the stain on their record, now they are not able to provide for their families like they should. So now those families are faced with the option of either going on the system, which I've got to pay for, or just going without. And when people are faced with the choice of either going on the system or going without, what are they going to choose? If you have to choose between feeding your babies or just letting them go hungry, what choice are you going to make?
So if they're feeding their babies on illegal prescriptions and pot, you're saying as a libertarian, this war on drugs is stupid. Let them deal illegal prescriptions to trailer parks and kids. By far hits the African American community worse in poorer neighborhoods.
So I'm gonna piss everybody off here.
Yeah.
I would rather a man feed his family selling drugs than to feed his family
on welfare.
On welfare.
Well, the two go hand in hand because you can't separate those, because where the welfare is bad,
you can't report your drug dealing profits on your low income application.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So if he's double dipping, then fry him, right?
Yeah. But getting back to the party thing, I'm a Republican.
Disembowel him in the park and let children place bets on the blood splatter.
I'm a Republican, just like Trump. I'm so pro-Trump, I don't just vote for him, but I'm in his party. He joined my party. And I'm also it's also the party of Bush and Reagan and Lincoln. And I think we've done pretty good. We have there's always going to be bozos in every party. And as soon as you come up with the right-wing conservative party, you'll get the guy down south that was dating underage kids. You'll get the same thing in the Tea Party. You'll get weirdos and everything, because it's just a public square that attracts normal people, and a lot of normal people do stupid things, even in politics. Every party is going to be imperfect with feckless, weird people on the edges. But philosophically, I'm way more in tune with being.
I thought Republicans weren't allowed to use the word feckless anymore.
Feckless. The reason why I like being a Republican is I agree with the philosophy. I don't agree with the execution. And same thing with Stephen, who doesn't agree with the execution on who picks a judge or what they end up doing on the wall or whatever. I just think there's a normal amount of waste in politics. I don't think it's right, but I think there is not going to be a perfect party where everyone marches in line with conservatism and acts in the right conservative way.
Someday Jesus will come back and give us a perfect party.
The Jesus party. There's a better chance he'll win. He'll win before Gary Johnson.
Would this be a poor time to say Osmodia sent in a super chat? Thank you, buddy, for $10. And he said, "You're all wrong."
Fact.
Well, you can't just say that. I'd like to know. So, what are we wrong on? I'm sure he was talking about you all, as in Doug and Soder and Steven. I'm sure he wasn't talking about me. Me and Osmodius go way back. We go way back.
Y'all are wrong.
Yeah, y'all are wrong. So yeah, I was at one time a Democrat. I've said this before. I was raised, my parents were very, very much Republican. Our church was very, very much Republican. We would picket at the Planned Parenthood what were they called? The Planned Parenthood clinics. Yeah, we'd picket at those. We would protest at the LGBTQ rallies or at the pride parades. We did all of that. And I was raised up in that, and that's kind of what I grew up in. As I got older and went to college and different things like that, I actually drifted more toward the Democratic Party. I thought that if I was going to embrace my blackness, that's where I needed to be, because I bought into this herd mentality that is very dangerous, very, very dangerous, by the way. And when I got comfortable enough with accepting my own individuality, I realized, you know what, I can still be me, without selling out to this godless, evil wing of our government, that is the left. I mean, it really is. It's very, very evil.
And the reason why the Republican Party abandoned the black man is because they saw that they were voting 94% Democrat. They just wrote them off and said, where are you going to spend your money to get votes? Those people, they identified a skin color instead of their values. And by the way,
black people are incredibly the older generation that they canceled, that they gave up on, incredibly pro-life.
They're incredibly pro-life, but they vote Democrat, so they vote anti-life.
I understand
They
that.
personally are pro-life, but they vote against their values. And I think it's because in general, we vote for what will benefit us monetarily. And all of the things like gay marriage and abortion stuff is abstract and out there. It's not as immediate as putting food on my plate.
But that's where you and I and Stephen, and because no matter which side of the aisle we're on, Stephen, you would consider yourself to be conservative, correct? You are
Microphone
muted.
Yes, in some areas, I would consider myself to be conservative, especially fiscally conservative.
Okay. And
but in some areas,
socially more liberal.
And we've talked about this. I think whatever two consenting adults want to do with each other is their own business. I think personally, as a Christian, I would plead with my neighbor to do the right thing. I just don't want the government to put a gun to their head or lock them in a cage for it.
And that's fair.
But that's not been historically a position on the right.
So
looking back into the 90s. So that I think the Republican Party has embraced a lot of that position, but that has not been historic. That's probably like a post 2000s.
Mm-hmm. I think it's proof. I think it's evidence that the party is going left. The party is going liberal. That they're saying that man-man marriage is interchangeable with man-woman marriage. They made their politics incoherent in the name of saying we don't know what government can't know what marriage is. It's dumb. So 2 men, 2 women, 3 men, 1 woman get married. We don't want to have a say because we don't know what the word marriage means. You decide.
But I think Q was trying to ask me if I were a conservative.
Yeah, you're conservative.
And so yes, I'm personally conservative. I'm definitely fiscally conservative. But when it does come to things like marriage, I think government should be. Oh, are you okay? Okay, I think government should be out of the marriage business altogether, and that's also historically Baptist perspective as well. So am I conservative? Am I liberal? I definitely would say yes and no. It's in some areas very conservative, in some areas probably very liberal.
And I could appreciate that. And as far as marriage goes, I feel that I don't want the government making law. I feel like the gun that we give the government to enforce on our behalf is the same gun the government will one day turn against us, right? So I'm
that is the lesson of public schools.
Correct. Absolutely. So just because my mom would say that the dog that'll bring a bone will carry one back, right? It's kind of a country saying, but it's very true. It's very, very true. So just because we're enjoying the benefits of that government system or that government now doesn't mean that one day we might not hate its very existence.
Yeah.
So,
but it's in our hands to shape. It's our fault if it becomes something different than what we want. We made it. That was the intent of the founders. If you'll have it, if you'll keep it.
But conservatism will die. It will die if we are not, those of us here, if we're not willing to fight for it, if we are not willing to educate the next generation on not arguing about the intricacies of conservatism. Conservatism is much greater and much bigger than Donald Trump. It's much bigger than George Bush, right? Yeah. It is a set of ideas. It is a set of principles, if you will, that we have to do a better job of protecting and do a better job of educating the next generation. Otherwise, we'll lose it.
Yeah.
And so that's the point of the show. That's the point of Out of the Darkness. The point of Out of the Darkness is I came out of that darkness because I felt like I was forced into it based on identity politics. And if I was going to be black, I had to vote and think this way. And I came out of that because I embraced my individuality. And that was probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And I found myself to be extremely conservative, social or fiscally, and probably leaning more liberal socially in some ways. Maybe not as much as others, but it has been my goal, and it has been my privilege to spend more time educating the next generation.
Where would you weigh in on Trump's fiscal policy as a fiscal conservative?
As a fiscal conservative, I think that he has dropped the ball in a lot of ways.
Amen, brother.
As a fiscal conservative, I feel like he has dropped the ball in many ways. These omnibus bills that he continues to sign, the spending that we have continued to spend.
You found something that's united everybody in the room.
That's right. I don't see anybody disagreeing with that.
Whether you're saying that money is going to a wall, or whether you're saying that money is going to the military, it doesn't matter what you allocate those funds to. We are living above our means, and as a family man, when we have more going out than we have coming in, we don't have the ability to go and print more money. We have to cut back somewhere. We have to make cuts.
Abolish entitlements.
And that is what we have to do. And
Amen,
I feel
brother.
We're just stealing from your children to pay for us, anyways. We're stealing from my children to pay for us,
and
we're stealing from them to pay for our entitlements.
And you know what? And that's very sad. That's very sad because they are being born in debt. So I have a major issue with that. But I think this is probably one of the best ways that we could probably walk away from this. And I've given you a lot of crap, and Stephen, I love you, man. I really do. I appreciate you. I respect you as a man and as a person, and probably one of my oldest friends. I've known you for a very long time. Soder, you know I love you.
I know, but I'm new. I'm the new guy on the block.
I'm newer. I'm newer.
But the thing about it is that the people that I love the most, I'm going to give the most crap, right? Because I know that at the end of the day, you guys will still love me.
Well, and
this has been a lot of fun.
Well, and we're way back in the weeds when you get down to the nitty gritty of what makes a conservative and a libertarian and all that. The bottom line is, if you look at what unites the right, there's a lot that unites the right, including squishy conservatives and libertarians and Republicans. That is where a lot of the ideas all start falling apart. Is you have to have a big enough party in a democracy to win a vote. You can't win a vote by pushing people out of your party for purity. You have to, at some point, you have to find common ground with 51% of an enormously diverse population. And if we're all conservatives and of the right-ish, look how much diversity is just between us four. Multiply that by the country's votership. That's why a lot of these things, that's why suddenly Republicans start acting like fiscally irresponsible. They start acting like pro-choicers. They start acting like gun grabbers. It's to grab squishy middle people on the edges, and they still have to maintain the hardcores.
I would challenge.
I think, but amongst the four of us, I think if we were just going to go over issues, here's an issue, what do I think about it? Here's an issue, what do I think about it? Here's an issue, what do I think about it? I think the four of us have more common ground than we have probably as differences.
Yeah. Well, limited government.
But it's no fun sitting here and having an amen quarter about all the things we agree on.
Oh, that's true. I think Joe Rogan has a term for that I'm not going to use. But,
hug box,
hug box. Yes.
But I would challenge everyone that's watching today. Do me a favor this week. Find someone that you don't typically identify with, and just have real conversations with them. Share conservative ideals, not in an argumentative way. Don't sit there and argue, because you win more flies with honey than vinegar, right? But I think we have to do a better job of, rather than creating these echo chambers where we just sit there and we talk amongst each other. There are these communities, the Latino community, the Black community, that are extremely, extremely conservative people, but have somehow been duped into voting against their own personal interests and their own personal values, because they've been told that one group of people care more about them than others, and we've done nothing to fight that stereotype. We haven't gone out to try to win them over. We haven't, and it's not so much winning them over, it's just taking time to explain, hey, no, we're not going to let them control the narrative anymore. We're going to take the narrative to the people. We are going to take the message to the people. No, we're not going to let them define us, because, I mean, think about it. If Burger King allowed McDonald's to handle all of their advertising and all their marketing, how long would McDonald's be in business?
That's right.
And so we have to do a better job of taking that message to the streets. And I think that I want to bring this to you guys, because I think that we have such a fantastic platform, such a fantastic group of people. I've visited and talked to most of you guys that are listening right now, and most of you guys that have commented, and some of you guys are new faces, but I've visited with most of you guys, and I think that most of you guys have love America. You love this country, and we all want what's best for it. We might have some slightly different ideas of what might be best, but we also know that there's greatness in America. There's greatness in the American people. And if the American people have the power in their hands to do so, that we could make this country great again. But that is going to be a government that is run by the people, for the people. But we've got to get this information out to people. We've got to bring it to the streets and bring it to the grassroots. So I know it's been a long day. Doug, were you going for the Kansas City Chiefs, or were you going for the 49ers?
I was rooting for the Chiefs.
I was rooting for the Niners. So you got jacked.
You got jacked at the end there.
Oh, it was their game, and they gave it away. The Chiefs won.
The worst team. The worst team of the two won.
I'm always happy when a team from a communist state loses.
There was no safe space for the 49ers tonight.
Oh man, it was their game to win, and they gave it up in the last 5 minutes.
They were clearly the better. They were brutal, the better team in Kansas City. Woo! Slipped one in there, man.
Yeah.
It was a great game, though. It was so close all the way through. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good game, but yeah, I was sad to see them to eke it out at the end. But before we sign off here, Soder, we got a couple of
we got a couple super chats to go through. First one up is Mr. Scott with $2. Thank you very much, buddy. And speaking earlier, you were talking about making America great again. Mr. Scott says, "Make blimpies great again."
Yeah.
Love you, Q.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
What is Blimpies?
It's a fast food joint.
Yeah, there's no Blimpies in Alaska, unfortunately. But it is a you know what? I would say they're slightly better than Subway, but not quite as good as Schlotzsky's.
See, I don't remember seeing a Blimpies when I lived in Oklahoma City, but I remember Schlotzsky's.
Yeah. So they're kind of dying off. So, but I would be okay with replacing all of the Subways with Schlotzsky's. But man, someone introduced me to Firehouse Subs. That is fire. Oh my.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we've got one of those here in Fairbanks.
Oh man, Firehouse Subs is fantastic.
I love those. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You get to pick all your any hot sauce you want. There's like a bunch of.
Oh, Q, we're getting a Sonic in Fairbanks.
We don't even have a Sonic here in where I live, so you guys are better off than I am. So awesome. Well, I guess when I come to visit this summer, I'll have to have some Sonic. My poor kids, I don't know if they've ever eaten at Sonic.
Do they just hand you a glass of milk and call it a shake up there? At a Sonic up in Alaska. It's a cold joke. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, the closest Sonic to me, they just opened one up in Wasilla, and then the next closest one I think is in Washington State.
That's Our Lady's country, the Thrilla from Wasilla.
I love Sarah. I am such a Sarah Palin fan.
Me too.
What?
She's like, yeah, she's the only reason I voted for McCain in 2008.
She was why it put a special fervor on my vote. I thought she's a great lady.
I was hoping to vote I was hoping McCain Palin would win and then McCain would die.
Well, he died, but not soon.
Yeah, just too late.
Yeah, too late. All right, we got one more.
And one last one, unless someone pops in quick, from our good buddy Asmodeus the Whale for $2.
Asmodeus the Whale?
Reading this. We call him the Whale because he does so many super chats. Oh gosh, I don't feel comfortable reading this. It's impossible to make your penis move on its own without clenching your butthole. Now we can all say we learned something from this discussion.
We're all men, so we already know.
Yeah. They didn't take any of us by surprise. So, all right. Well, hey, you guys have a fantastic night. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on a great season. You guys won. I'm pretty ticked off because obviously you guys cost me my own pride because I talked a lot of crap.
Did you have money on the game, Q?
No.
Gambling?
No. I don't bet on things I can't control. So
yeah.
So no, I did not.
If I bet on the Chiefs, they would have lost. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did.
But it was worse. My name was out there because I talked a lot of crap, and if anybody knows me, knows I like to talk, and of course when the 49ers went up, oh man, I started sending out texts left and right. So and what a crappy Doug. Did you watch the halftime show?
Oh, it was a strip club. It was disgusting.
What a whore fest. I mean, good night, man.
Somebody told me that someone yelled Epstein didn't kill himself at the end of that.
I mean, that would have been the only decent thing that came out of it, right? But no, seriously, I had to get my daughter out of there because I was thinking, what the heck, man? It was disgusting. But it was all about women's empowerment, right? And I'm thinking, what's empowering about a bunch of half-naked women dancing across the stage doing, I mean, come on now.
Sticking their crotch and their tongue out. J-Lo was grabbing her crotch. And
I mean,
it was really awful.
It's like, well, what's empowering about that? So Doug, we got into a discussion. I know you're kind of an old school guy before you go. Got into a discussion with some people today about whether or not if a man is being assaulted by a woman, whether or not he has the right to hit her.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
I saw that question.
He does not.
He does not. You don't believe that?
I don't.
And why is that?
Men don't hit women.
But okay, so I
identifies as female.
If he identifies as female, he's still a man.
So let me ask you this:
so if he identifies as a female and she identifies as a man, she can still hit him and he can't hit her.
If Bruce Jenner walked up and punched you in the face, if Caitlyn Jenner walked up and punched you in the face, what would you do?
Oh, I'd knock his teeth down his throat because he's not a woman.
So, but the problem that I have is this. So if I am to believe that a woman is equal to a man in every way, and I am to believe that she is physically and emotionally and socially equal.
Well, you don't believe that. You don't believe they're physically.
No. But social. I mean, I'm being told that.
Oh, you're being told that. Oh no.
That's what society tells us. So if I'm to believe that, then would it be disrespectful? Because if a dude walks up to me and hits me, I'm gonna put my fist down his throat.
That's right.
So if I feel that way about a dude, wouldn't it be disrespectful for me not to treat a woman exactly the same way?
It's true. That's what the feminists would want you to believe. If feminism is true, then yes, hit the woman.
Then
let me ask you: if a female cop came to seize your guns, would that be it? Would you allow your guns to be seized because you wouldn't hit a woman?
No. But see, that's the thing. While I
not you, but Doug.
But while I might be, I'm not a chauvinist. What's the what they say is I might be chivalrous. My guns are not, and so when I shoot my gun, the bullets absolutely don't recognize gender. So whoever is on the business end of my AR, if I had an AR anymore, that wasn't on the bottom of the lake, by the way, but on the business end of my AR, whoever gets it gets it. So yeah, anyone who comes after my guns would get the business end of it.
Here's where I am okay with striking a woman is if they had the upper hand some way, like if they had a firearm on you
or a knife.
If it's mano y mano y womano, then I don't think you can hit them. But I think if they broke into your house and had a gun, yeah, you blow them away.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would agree with that. But it's very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous. That's the problem with this leftist agenda, is that it's very inconsistent as well, Doug, because again, my argument stands. If I am to believe that a woman is equal to a man in every way, then it would be highly disrespectful for me not to fight back just as I would with a man. If
really you're doing all womankind a favor.
Right. I mean,
to feminism by doing that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's showing equal respect for a man as a woman. So I would not treat them any differently. So if a woman is to put her hands on me, I'm going to break her arms just like I would break a man's arms, right? And I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying.
Of course not. Because you're a gentleman.
I am. I'm a gentleman. And my kids watch this show sometimes. But they can't have it both ways. If the feminist movement is going to say that a woman should be respected and treated just like a man would, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Be careful what you ask for. I think that women, it is not wrong for a woman to expect special treatment and to be treated like a woman, because I believe that there's a certain level of respect that goes along with being a woman, but they are fighting hard to eradicate that.
And I think that has to do with the Christian value that says that women are the weaker vessel. And that's why they should be honored as the weaker vessel.
Well, they're different but equal. They have strength in very different ways than men do, and it's crystal clear.
Exactly.
Usually, it's men are given the charge of protecting the woman so that he will lay his life down for her. That's his job. It's not because he's greater or worse or whatever. It's you have job. Same way a woman passes a child through her loins. That's her job. Man can't do that. It's not his job. They're equal. Right. They have different jobs.
But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with teaching your children, and for us to teach our sons that they are to protect and to love and care for women, whether it be their sister, whether it be their mother.
Yep.
that they have a responsibility to do that. But this modern day movement would say that absolutely that is a chauvinistic viewpoint. But I think it's going to turn around to bite them. I really do. I think it's going to turn around to bite them. And I got a mixed bag. I had some people that said, absolutely not. If she puts her hands on you, you should beat the absolute. And I'm thinking, golly. But that is what this feminist agenda has brought on themselves. It really is. That is what that has brought about.
Women are less happy than ever. They're getting their way and they're not happy.
Well, that's
and men concede their leadership role as couch sitting pot smokers, and they're less happy than ever. Also, human happiness is down.
What shall it profit a woman to gain the whole world and lose her own soul? Isn't that what it said?
Sorry, I think you meant eggs at the end there.
All right, we got to jump. It's like I got to go to bed.
All right, guys.
All right.
You guys have a great night.
You have a good night, Q. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciated all the fun.
Yeah, it was
nice to
meet
you, Stephen. My pleasure. I hope I didn't come down too hard.
Good to meet you, Doug. Doug, I had a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask Doug a question on the air?
Sure.
Q? So, what in your mind, what fiction novel has most influenced your political views? Since you write fiction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, I mean, 1984 is really big in my mind. Animal Farm, 1984, anything by Orwell, but also really on the truth, goodness, and beauty thing and the idea of a republic and everything, far more C.S. Lewis, That Hideous Strength and things like that have gotten me deeper. Hits me deep.
Thank you. Since you're an author, I thought and a conservative author, I thought I would pose that question to you.
We have great literature out there. It's, but yeah, Huxley, Brave New World, all that stuff. It's really good.
Oh, great! We have a new super chat.
How much are they paying you to stay awake?
$2 this time from Mr. Scott. Q, if you go to Sioux Falls, check out Flyboys Donuts. A contractor brought me some donuts. They had crushed Oreos on the donuts.
Ooh.
They will put Fruity Pebbles, Cheerios, you name it. They are awesome donuts. I heard it's run by Koreans.
Oh, then that means they're good. Vietnamese or Koreans make the best donuts.
It's true.
Yeah. Oh, it is
the Chinese invented frying things. We know more about it than ever. For us, it's huge.
Huge. China.
That was all satire, by the way. In case anyone was going to try
to. Don't give me coronavirus, please.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, hey, have a great night. We'll look forward to talking to you guys soon. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to like the video. If you are not subscribed currently, be sure to subscribe before you leave. Thank you so much, guys. We'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Have a great week. God bless.
Night.